Okay, I believe this is like one of my few gifts. I have a gift of discernment of when you feel confused, I feel it too. It's a weird thing. But I felt pretty stupid last week while I'm teaching these things to you guys because I feel like you guys were really confused about Facebook. So today, forget the stuff on the syllabus. I'll try to cover that in the end of class. I'm going to give you a crash course on Facebook. Okay? We're going to go through how to set all that stuff up. Remember last class? By the way, I was talking to a student, and he said this to me. He said today, he's like, your last class was confusing. It's like, go on, tell me more. He goes, yeah, it just was so fast. You feel that too? You know, the confusing factor sometimes?
Oh, I thought you were like doing the thing where you try to keep on walking or whatever.
Oh, no. Confusing? Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, Miriam. No, so he says, your class is very confusing. I didn't know these things. And then I went home and I spent an hour doing it myself and I was totally fine. Okay, that's exactly where I want to get you. I want to get you to the point where you're painful and you're thinking about things, and as an entrepreneur, you're smart enough to know that I don't spoon feed you things. You go home, you play around with it, and you figure it out, okay? If you're used to the regular classes where they tell you everything, then you're in the wrong business, okay? Don't become an entrepreneur if that's what you want. In this class, you're gonna be confused, and then you're gonna go home and figure it out. By the end of today, you're gonna be even more confused, okay? On different things. And then by the end of the semester, you're going to look at today's class and be like, oh, that's just a normal, we just do that. That's just duh, right? That's okay. I'm okay with you being there. I'm not okay with you not going home and failing on it on your own. Okay? That's what I want. Okay, who has a project that's ready to run Facebook ads right now that can put their computer up here and I can show the class how to do it? Please tell me somebody.
Wait. Does that mean we have to find a new company to do the Facebook ads?
Why? Wait, what's your old company?
If we were to do our group's company.
The T's I like.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
We can pull it up, yeah.
You want to pull it up? All right, do you have a computer? Do you have a computer? You want to throw it onto you can throw it on this computer.
Let's go. I have a computer. I can do everything.
Either way, if you want to do it on your computer, you can. We can connect. Whatever. I'm fine with that too. Give this guy a hand. He's coming up here. Woo! Okay. He's going to take a minute to get set up, so I'm going to keep on teaching. Okay, we're going to come back to Facebook. I'm going to start with pixels and what they are. Okay, so at the end of class, we're going to talk about how to set up pixels on your website, but I'm going to define it now, and we'll come back to it later. Okay, so a pixel. If you guys look at a computer, they tell you resolution. They're like 1080 by 220 or whatever the thing is. This by this. The little dot in there that you can't even see is a pixel. Okay, so when you look at a file, a pixel file, typically it'll be an open bracket. It'll say IMG for like an image file. And then the size of that is 1 pixel, so you can't even see it, okay? Inside that pixel is going to be information that gets passed back to Google. Typically they use, Google or Facebook. Typically they use a JavaScript, okay? And they say, hey, take this information, send it back to the original people. That's that programming script. So it's not a really big pixel. JavaScript says, hey, actually the code resides here. Go find that code over here and then use that, right? So it's just a little bit of snippet. So that's inside the pixel. So the information that it passes back to Facebook is called a cookie, okay? And cookies store a lot of information about you. They're going to store things about what websites you go to, not on Facebook, but actually other websites. So Facebook can understand a lot about you, like your interests, what you like, what you dislike, your political affiliation, all that stuff. And they can find information about you outside of what you do on Facebook. That information is stored and transferred to Facebook through pixels. And the information transfer is called a cookie. Everyone okay with that? We good?
Yep.
All right, perfect.
So what do you want? Hold up, I have the
Okay, so
website and then
beautiful. Pull up the website for a second.
where's the...
So
Okay.
does a company like Facebook have like just one pixel on each random website that they're interested in, or do they have multiple pixels on the websites
Great
they're
question.
interested in?
So a pixel, there's going to be two types of pixels. There's an analytic pixel and a conversion pixel. The analytic pixel is on every page of the site. The conversion pixel only resides on the end, and we call that an event pixel on Facebook. It resides only on your thank you page. That makes sense? Yeah, and so he's asking, does it reside on every page or on every website? Well, the more websites that have pixels on them for Facebook, the more information that they can gather. Okay? Yes.
All right, so I will tell you, we just finished our Kickstarter, and so we'll start selling in November online.
How much you raise on the Kickstarter?
So, 18,000.
Nice. Show me the landing page. Guys, a landing page is a page that you land on when traffic is sent. So if I send traffic to a page, it's called a landing page. So this would be the page we would send them to. Oh, this is Kickstarter?
The landing page for Kickstarter?
No, the landing page, shop now, hit shop now. Is this the page we would send them to?
Regular product page right now.
Okay, but you're gonna make a ClickFunnels page.
Yeah.
So he hasn't made the page yet, right? We're gonna get to that, that's fine. Kind of scroll down. I just wanna see what this is. So tell me like the product in 30 seconds.
Yeah, so it's a golf tee that lasts about 20 rounds, way longer than your average tee. Helps with consistency because every time you stick it in the ground, it's at the same exact height, and then it actually stays in the ground as opposed to other durable tees that will fly out of the ground every time you use them.
Okay, out of what he said, what is the most important thing do you think to like a golfer? Consistency. Where is that on this page?
Right there.
Right here? Okay, so that needs to be your main product point. Consistent tee strokes every time. You know, that's your benefit. Okay, and then you can explain how it does it later, but those benefits need to be right up front, right? I also would probably change this from purple to something more like green or something, you know, add to cart. But we don't haven't done the product at all. Okay, that's fine. I'm just kind of giving some ideas on that. All right,
That's great.
we're good? All right, pull up Facebook. Do we have a pixel set up yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, they even got the pixel set up. So you guys can use, if you're doing this, what are we gonna use Shopify or Squarespace for this site? Good. And then what's our, can we do this on ClickFunnels if we wanted to? Yeah, we can. We can sell products on ClickFunnels, and I love using ClickFunnels for a product page. If you want a ClickFunnels-like experience, but not use ClickFunnels, use Zipify on Shopify. So an app on Shopify that does kind of the same thing is called Zipify, and it's cheaper. So booyah. Okay? So do you have ads you've already ran?
Yeah, so we ran ads for the Kickstarter, but they were not successful. So.
Okay, they were not
because
successful.
We were targeting traffic campaigns.
Because we were doing a traffic campaign instead of a conversion campaign.
I didn't take the class yet.
Hadn't taken the class yet. gotta run this. All right. So he's got, but let's see what are some of the metrics up here that are good that we can like kind of take information. What would you want to know from this? Cost per click. Okay. Traffic campaigns are going to be 3 to 5 times less CPCs than a conversion campaign. Why is that?
Because they're just trying to get traffic rather than
Right.
convert.
You know, these are just trying to find people that can go to your site. So look at our click-through rate. It's like 4.5%. That's extremely high. If that were conversion click-through rate, holy cow, that'd be amazing, right? But it's not. Okay, so he's got a 1,500 clicks. He had an $1,800 budget. Scroll over, you spent $290. Any other information? Okay, let me see how you made your ad group. Let's go to your ad groups, your ad sets, sorry. Okay, so we got 2 ad sets, engaged shoppers and crowdfunding plus golf. Okay, let's click on edit for crowdfunding plus golf. So he saw that it was 19 cents versus 22, so I'm guessing you paused the one that was more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. So scroll down to your audiences. Okay, so for what he thought was it'd be good to go crowdfunding, Indiegogo, and Kickstarter. Okay, and then he did an and/or function. He did an and must like golfing as well. So you must like buying things on one of these 3 platforms, and you like golf. Okay, that's a fair audience. Good job. Oh, did you have another one? Oh, and must also match all of this.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So you want high income demographics. Click on that blue thing so we can see what the audience is. Sorry, so you can understand. I want to see how big this is. 2.9 million people. So that's actually fine. 2.5 million people. Go down. Okay, so he's looking at household income as another thing. So they must be a high household income, and they must be an engaged shopper, which means they buy things online. But again, he's looking at a traffic campaign instead of a conversion campaign. Okay, perfect. We're going to make this ourselves. We're going to do so good at this. It's going to blow it out the park. You can sit down.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to hit Alt-1. Oh, I don't know how to do this on a PC. Control-1. Okay. Here we go. I'm in the campaign, and I'm just going to create a brand new campaign. Okay? We're going to go down the list on everything on these things. Okay, right now, the first thing I notice is it's on quick creation. quick creation is like buying kids meals, okay? You do that when you're tiny and dumb, okay? Now that you're smart and old and like have experience, we don't do quick creation anymore, okay? We do guided creation. So up here, the first thing I'm going to do is switch to guided creation, okay? That gives you way more options and the ability to actually like do things that will matter for your campaigns. Quick creation is like, hey, Facebook, I don't know what I'm doing, so help me out, okay? We're saying, hey, Facebook, we got this, all right? We're not basic. All right, here we go. So I'm going to come down here. It's not a specialty ad campaign like a political thing, so I don't have to worry about this. What's my campaign objective? I might try a conversion versus a catalog sale. I doubt a catalog sale would work, but it might be worth trying, okay? But for now, we're going to choose conversions, okay? So then that pulls me down here, and I got to name my campaign. So conversions, sure, I'll name it conversions. What are some other pieces of information I can add to this campaign that might be helpful? Are we geo-targeting in the US?
Yeah.
Where?
Sorry, just no, not within the U.S. Just the U.S.
Where are the, so we're trying to find a demographic of a lot of people who play golf. Where's the number one place that people play golf? Does anyone know? Florida. That's a good place, okay? I don't need a big sample size to test this, but I need a sample size of a lot of people that like golf is like their culture. So I might try, where's like the big event in Florida?
It's the PGA in January.
Yeah, but where's it located?
Players, it's in Jacksonville area.
Jacksonville? Okay, I happen to know, because I'm from South Carolina, we'll talk with an accent now, the golf capital of the world is Hilton Head, South Carolina, and Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. There are more golf courses per square mile in Hilton Head and Myrtle Beach than anywhere else in the world. So I'm going to start my targeting out there in South Carolina, okay? So I'm going to do Myrtle. I'm going to actually put this into the campaign title. HH is Hilton Head. That's how we Southerners say it. Okay? So I'm going to say conversion, HH, and then because there are options on the campaign level, I'm going to say CBO. Okay? CBO stands for Campaign Budget Optimization. I'm going to add that in there as well. So CBO is the next step. Okay? Is there anything else I want to add at this level that I might want to like consider? I might have to come back because I don't know. What's your name, by the way?
Abe.
Abe? All right, Abe. Is there anything else I need to put in here? You feel like that's pretty good?
That's good to me.
We might have to add later. I like to put as much information as I possibly can about these campaigns. Geo-target is definitely important. CBO is definitely important. It's on conversions because that's the campaign type. So I feel good about this so far. Do you have multiple products?
No, just multiple colors.
Okay, so we don't have to put a product type in here. We're good with this. Okay, creative split test. Do we want to do a split test? No. Campaign budget optimization. Do we want to do a CBO? Yes. Okay, who said yes about the split test?
Me.
You're right that we want to split test, okay? I do not want to use this, and I will explain that why when we get to the ad sets, okay? Good thought, though. Good thought. Okay, so on the CBO, first I need to determine, am I doing a daily or a lifetime budget?
Do you want to test the hours?
Okay, when would I use lifetime? Good thought, Spencer. When do I use lifetime?
Day party or time party.
If I'm doing any kind of scheduling of ads, day parting or hour parting, then I would use a lifetime budget. You can't do that on the daily budget.
Gotcha. So
Okay, it's flip-flopped. Okay? The other reason I would do that is like, let's say I'm an ad agency, they gave me $10,000 to spend. I know I got to spend $10K before the event, and so then I want to use the lifetime budget. Okay? Do we have any of those constraints? Okay, so let's just throw it on a daily budget. That makes it a lot easier, honestly. Okay? And then how much do we want to run a day?
We could start at
100.
100. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I think 100.
Okay, so here's something I want to explain to you guys, and this is very pro-level Facebook, so pay attention. Facebook is a slow-moving turtle. It's not a hare, okay? And so you want to increase your budgets gradually. I would run budgets at $5 to $10 for a day or two per ad set, and then I'd move up to 10 to 25 for a couple days, and then I'd move up from there, okay, per ad set. The reason being is they can do some weird things as it's trying to learn. So giving it like a spaced out, slow moving time actually helps it a lot. So probably for the first day or two, huh?
What does it do by condensing it? Like by giving only like $5 per day?
Then he's going to spend only $5 that day instead of spending $100 that day. Yeah, but what it's doing is it's learning the whole time. And for some reason, the algorithm works a lot better. I don't know why. If we do a smaller budget and then a bigger budget. So if we want to move into $100 a day for the campaign, that's fine. But in the beginning, I'm probably going to do a lot less. Let's assume that we're going to do 3 ad sets or 4 ad sets.
3 assets.
Okay, we're going to do 3 ad sets, okay? So I'm going to say $30 daily budget for now. You guys good with that? Cool.
So we can do the same thing as increasing budget daily on
Yep.
ads too?
So as soon as a day or two is gone, I might change that to $60.
On Google Ads too.
Oh, Google Ads, no.
No.
Don't worry about that, Google. Yeah,
So that starting at $5 to $10 per day is per ad set? you're
per
saying?
ad set, right? Because you're targeting on the ad set level. Okay? Okay. The other thing I might add to this, now that I think about it, would be the date. I do that if I'm doing a lot of testing. I'll put the date on there because I want to compare when I made that campaign compared to other stuff, you know, just to see how long it's been running. You can find that in like the other area, but I like a quick access to that.
You can always throw on Brigham and that just so there's the memory and the branding.
Yeah, there you go, Brigady. Like it. Okay, campaign bid strategies. Oh, here we go, guys. Here we go. We got a lot to talk about here. This is going to be an interesting conversation. You guys ready? All right, let's do it. So we have 4 types we got to go over. Lowest cost, cost cap, bid cap, and target cost. Okay? Blank. I need a pen. Does anyone have a pen? You got one? Make sure you get it at the end of class. What kind of teacher doesn't bring pens to class? I've never needed one so far. Thank you. Okay. Lowest cost. What's the middle one again? Hold on. Cost cap. Okay. Target. CPA. Here we go. The Facebook formula, you guys remember that? Flawless Facebook method. Okay, and then the last one is a bid cap. Okay, Facebook wants you to use lowest cost. Okay, let me show you what this looks like in a lowest cost method. Okay. Over time, Facebook does nothing to pause your account. So if this is CPA, this is the cost per acquisition. We have this in dollars. If this is CPA, over time, this is going to do what? Go up or down?
Down.
You say, whoever says down, say aye.
I don't know.
Well, it would depend. It would depend, like at first it would go down, then it would go back up.
Okay, that's perfect. That's the right answer. Why is that?
Because it's learning, so it's getting more efficient, but then it's using more of your pool. And so it has to like relearn how to acquire the other customers.
Yeah, and so
Or potential customers. Yeah.
what's happening on this side of the curve?
It's learning, getting better.
It's getting better. It's understanding who your customer is based off of conversion data. And what's happening on this side of the curve?
It's slowing down its capability either because you're running out of people to sell to, or you need to target differently. Or
You're hitting market saturation.
there you go.
Okay, you're hitting market saturation and the cost goes up. Okay, so let's look at this on a big level. Let's say you have 100 people in this room. Out of this 100 people, we're in the audience of golfing. We like to golf. I don't know. Yes, Steve. Okay, perfect. Steve's the guy. Steve's the guy. He likes to golf. Okay, how many of you don't like, how many of you never played a game of golf in your life? You've got a couple people in here. So for some reason, they were in the golf group, but they don't like to golf. They're never going to buy golf tees, right? So what happens is, we don't know this at first, right? We don't know this about them. We kind of think that they like golf, but we don't know. So we show them an ad or something, and we realize that they have no liking for this. This is Facebook, okay? So then we say, okay, out of that 100 people, maybe our real pool is like 50, okay? Out of that 100 people, maybe our real pool is about 50. Okay, what happens when we start to get sales out of those 50 people?
Fewer people to sell to.
There's now instead of 50, there's 49, 48, 47. So as we start to use our budget, we start to realize that our pool does this, right? Now, our Facebook's not constantly adding to the pool because people are coming in, they're leaving, people are showing interest, they're adding and taking away, but over time, in this finite group of 100 people, this goes down, okay? Now, Steve loves golfing. So probably Steve's going to buy this tee at a cost per acquisition of $1. He's like number one, right? He's down here, $1. However, there's people that would buy this, but they got to see it a couple of times, right? They're not like convinced like Steve right away. Those people are willing to pay like $5 or $6. They need more impressions. And there's people that once they're gone, they're not going to buy at all, right? So you might have a pool in that 100 of, let's say, a couple people that will buy at $1 per lead, and they're going to try to find that right away. Then you have a bigger pool that are going to buy at, like, let's say $5 a lead, and an even bigger pool that are going to buy at, let's say, $10 a lead. And then there's people that wouldn't even buy at all. And so once we start to hit, we try to find all these $1 people. Facebook's getting really good at that. They come down here. Then at some point, we found them. And there's no more people that are willing to buy at that dollar level. So now the cost starts to go up because now we start targeting these guys. And we start targeting these guys. So that's exactly right, Adam. What happens is the cost goes down some, hopefully, over time, and then it starts to go up as you reach market saturation. On a lowest cost campaign bidding strategy, this just keeps going up. It's just going to find the lowest cost that it possibly can. Okay? You guys good? Any questions on this? So to summarize, what happens to the CPA over time? Right? Okay, good. Okay, awesome. Glad you guys have that. So that's lowest cost. Cost cap. This is what I recommend you using in the beginning. Okay, cost cap. So the way this works, let's say CPA again, is it probably has something to do like this, but we're just going to assume, just for like number's sake, that it goes up. There's a point where it goes up far enough that like you stop being profitable. Like at that $15 and $20, it's like you don't want cost of that much because you won't even break even. Well, that's really easy if you're running one ad set, but what if you're running 100 ad sets? Do you want to look at that every single day? No, right? Like you want to have some kind of control on here to say, hey, Facebook, if it hits $10 a CPA, pause that because I don't want to do that because I'm not going to make any money on that. So what happens is we create a cost cap. Okay? This cost cap, let's say it's $10. Facebook will say, okay, if we can find conversions at that $10 level, great, we'll send you traffic. If we think we can find conversions at that level. It's not guaranteed, obviously. But if we can't, we just stop sending traffic. Okay? So that's what that looks like. So that's how the cost stays where it's at. Yes?
And you're saying that's a good way to start it because it's kind of more of a conservative way to go about it? Or?
Yeah, I always start on this because, at some point I'm trying to shut that off anyway. And it doesn't just say, okay, I got a $10 lead today, shut it off. It'll let it run for like a day or 2 or 3 days, and then it'll shut it off. Yeah, Matt?
Do you modify that once you know what your marginal cost is going to be?
You can.
So, I mean, you get a little thing and he finds out, oh, hey, my average sale is actually going to be $60. So I want my cost cap, so I know that I want a $20 margin or $30, and that's it. Do you modify it, or do you say, you know what, we're going to leave that because I'm going to do a different ad set?
Okay, what would be the detriment? Let me ask you this, Matt. So let's say this is the trend.
Yep.
What is the detriment to setting my cost cap here?
I lose all those customers between 5 and whatever that is, $8.
What happens to your spend? What happens to your spend? You don't spend as much. You lose these customers, absolutely right, because you're not able to spend that much. So if you say this, they say, hey, Matt, we've already found these people. Everyone's kind of up here now, so I'm just not going to spend money. Right? So setting the cost cap too low can lose efficiency in what you're doing. Okay? Yeah?
So like at the beginning, your CPA that you're using, is it based off of the numbers that you calculated doing like the Facebook calculation, or is it based off of assumptions? Like for example, when you talk about your wax store,
you had assumption of what your order value was. So did you base it off of the value of an order, off of those assumptions, or did you base it
Yeah,
off of one?
great question. So Google is like Germans. They're exact, they're like numbers driven, they're like mechanical, and Facebook is like French people from Paris, okay? They're like fluffy, feel it out, kind of just like feelings are involved and emotions, you know, that's how Facebook is, and you can't really get an exact science. So the James Bond method doesn't work on Facebook, unfortunately, okay? Those Parisians, they just, they like the pretty things and they don't know why it works. Okay, so what's going on is on a Facebook idea that you have, like to see if it'll work on Facebook, you need a decent margin for your advertising costs. And that margin depends on what the product is. Is it something that applies to the tons of masses and like a lot of people buy often, like a cell phone case? If so, you can have a decent small margin. Or is it something that is like super niche and super like, you know, popular or whatever for like a specific group, but you can't even target that group, you're targeting a bigger group, then you might need a bigger budget, right? Does it have, I'll come to you, does it have disruptive qualities, meaning that the hook is so compelling that people are going to stop looking at the ugly babies of their cousins to go look at your product, right? So do you have disruptive qualities? Do you have a decent margin built in? And do you have compelling photos in an offer? And if those things are there, then it's worth a test. But I can't give you the German James Bond method on Facebook. Does that answer your question? Great question.
Yeah. So when you said 10 times CPA for testing, was
Yeah.
that for Google?
No, that was for
That was
Facebook.
that was for Facebook.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if I missed something. How do you calculate that?
Right. So if I need like a $5 CPA to be profitable,
Okay.
I might go up to $50. But that's also, you know, if 50 is expensive, I might go to 30. I might be super conservative with that in the beginning.
So that's for your budget.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great question. Steve, huh?
But not daily.
That's for your total expend on that ad set. Yes, Steve?
So in this graph, over time, where you were saying earlier, you might start at 10, 20 bucks and you may, increase to 30, then 50, 60.
Yeah.
What does that look like over time? And are you trying to create that same graph at a
No.
higher?
You're just giving it more budget. Nope, you're just giving it more budget, and then eventually, whatever that audience level is, it's going to come to this over time.
Okay.
Okay? This might be a year. It might look like a year. If the size of the audience is super huge and your budget's really small, you might never get there.
So still based off saturation.
Yeah, it's all based off saturation, which is audience size and spend.
Okay.
We'll go here and then here.
So just to answer my own question, to make
Yeah.
sure I understood correctly. So if I'm selling $15 product, it's $4.50. I'm gonna go ahead and do the CPA. I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna make it $10, and then I'm gonna run it $5 to $10 a day for what would that? You said it's your CPA, so I just said it was 10, so $100. That's kind of basically what you're saying.
Yeah, for that specific ad set.
Exactly, based on
Yeah.
my margins, based on
Right.
the discussion.
He said something interesting. He said, I want to set my cost cap to $10. If I know that that's my break-even level. You might in the beginning set it a little higher, actually, because you're not as optimized as you will be. Remember I told you that you're about 80% intelligent? Remember I told you guys that last class? That doesn't mean you're dumb. That means you're like 80% of the way there. Okay, so if you're selling, we talked about last class the MAGA hats, and we're like, if you're going to sell a MAGA hat, you're not going to be dumb enough to sell it to the DNC, right? You're going to sell it to Republicans. In this case, you're not going to sell golfing tees to swimmers, right? So in this case, you're almost there. So I don't need to assume that like I need this huge spend kind of thing of like a cost cap of like 500, but I might set it at $12 or $13 because I'm still going to come down some eventually, and I still want to let it run a little bit. Other questions? You had a question? Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, does Facebook really accurately track the CPA even if the purchase
Yes.
is happening off Facebook?
Absolutely, 100%. That's why we have pixels. Great question. And by the way, if you are not testing your pixel before you run, you are wrong. You are wrong. That is like the biggest rookie mistake of advertisers, okay? I can't tell you how painful that was for me to learn that. You run $1,000 and you realize my pixel's not set up properly. Then you just wasted $1,000 to spend, okay? Absolutely super important. There's Facebook Pixel Helper. It's a Chrome extension. Download that. It goes in the top of your bar. You go to your thank you page, hit the button, and it'll show if your pixels are on there. And it'll give you a check mark if it's good. We'll talk about that later, though. Okay, are we good on cost cap? Out of these two, which one do I like more?
Cost cap.
Cost cap's what I would use, okay? All right, now we have target CPA. Riley, we should probably create like a quiz for this kind of stuff. Yeah, it'd be a good idea. Do you want to do that? Sweet. Okay, CPA. Here we go. Budget over time. So for target CPA, Matt, you were talking about this, and I specifically didn't answer your question because I need more information at the ad set level to answer the question you have. Okay, so I'll come back to that, okay? But target CPA, what that does is like for Sugar Me Wax, I want to have a $3 CPA. That's good for me. And I know that because I've spent enough money that I'm at that point, okay? And now, what we know is that in the beginning, the CPA is low, and then it rises, and then it goes here. Target CPA wants to hit that $3 mark, okay? And they do pretty good at coming close to that. And that means these people that are under, the disadvantage of the $2 and $1, you don't get them as much. They kind of get spent at the $3 mark, okay? You don't get them as much. But you also don't get these as much either. So let me ask you this. What happens to your daily spend over time on this? Will? Nope. Anyone else? Huh? Adam? It does not go up. Any other last-ditch options on a two-dimensional graph? It goes down.
You say your total spend goes down? Oh,
Your
'cause
daily
because
spend.
because they can't find them.
You can't find them. It can't hit that $3 amount. It just stops spending. Okay? It's going to try to hit that $3 amount for the longest it can. Okay? That's why I like this more than I like lowest cost, but I don't run this until I had enough time to find all those little guys. Does that make sense? Yes.
So what you're saying is the target CPA goes down over time because it can't go above $3?
The target CPA does not go down over time. Target CPA is constant. So it's trying to get this. What goes down over time? Your daily budget, your daily spend, okay? And it goes down over time because of the same thing we had over here where it was, Steve's the $1 guy. A couple of these guys are the $5 guys, but that audience keeps shrinking, right? And so the audience of people who are willing to pay $3 keeps going down, so they can't spend as much on that audience, right? That's how that works. In reality, if you have a really big audience, target CPA is great because it'll keep on targeting and it'll keep getting you those amounts and it won't fluctuate as much. Yeah.
All right, 2 questions. So what you do is you'll start out with the cost cap, and then once you kind of hit that $3 level, because you know that's what your company needs, then you switch it over to a target CPA, and then keep running it in that way?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then I can't remember my second question. It doesn't matter.
So I wouldn't switch it over. I would test against the control. So I would run two ad sets and test which one does better for me. That makes sense? Yeah. So if you're noticing that you're not spending money at this, it's probably because, it's a big ad set, it's probably because you're reaching this saturation point where that's too high. Okay, yes?
What's the volume of reach that you would normally reach saturation?
We'll talk about that. It's a great question. What's the volume of reach to reach saturation? We're going to talk about that at the ad set level. Good question. Matt, did you have something?
No, I answered my question.
Okay. Any other questions on this part so far? Yes?
Just like, biggest reason why, if the cost cap is doing great and you're still like getting acquisitions, like why would you switch it?
The possibility of doing better. And again, I don't switch it over. I test against. Yeah, and if it doesn't work, I'm only spending $30. It's not really that big of a deal.
So when you test against, one of the things you're looking for is, hey, I have a certain amount of leads. Maybe my daily spend is actually lower than $3 because they can't find the leads. Or you might notice that, hey, I still have a few $1 left on this end. So don't, because I imagine if I were Facebook,
Yeah.
and I'm going for a $3 target, I'm not going to give you the $1 and the $2. I want
Exactly.
you to get the $3 because I want to keep the money on my end and provide it to others that might be advertising that's similar, and give them the dollars if they're going to do a different campaign.
That is correct in mentality of how you're right that they will give you more of the $3 ones. It's not necessarily correct on the thinking on that, but the idea is right, okay? So the idea of what you're talking about is exactly right. It's just the way it actually works is not correct yet.
Okay.
That is something else we need to go over. So we'll come back, mentally store these things, and if I forget, tell me. I'm actually write this on the board. So we need to talk about CPM. And then what was your question? Yep, yours, Will.
Mine, what's their saturation volume?
Volume.
Going along with saturation volume, so, I mean, when you talk about sugar meat wax, you start talking about like your salons. Do you just expect over the long haul to be getting a lot less like traffic or conversions to to people signing up as a result of you kind of
Yeah, the problem with me is I just don't have a new audience. I'm such a small unit, right? I'm like targeting a subsection of a city that I can't find a new audience that this will work with, right? So my saturation level goes up. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's when you have to like execute even better because sales are even more because what happens in the store is your next way of acquisition because online you already done.
Right. I mean, we're going to talk about how to change it at the ad sale level, but yes, good thoughts all around. Great thoughts, everyone. Okay, there's another one called bid cap. Unless you work for Coca-Cola, you're never going to use this. Okay? Bid cap is something for the traffic and engagement level, which basically says it's kind of like a cost cap where it's like, hey, I don't want to pay this much of a CPA, but it's, hey, I don't want to spend more than this on a CPM basis, right, on an impression. On an impression, I don't want to spend more than an amount. So what that'll do is like on all traffic, like if I have newsfeed, let's say I just have newsfeed, right? Certain times of the day are cheaper than other times of the day. There's more people bidding, let's say, during the daytime than at night. So I might do a cost cap, and it might run more traffic, a bid cap, and it might run more traffic at night because my bid cap is not allowing me to hit the higher levels. So it might be a way to get cheaper traffic on a long run, but we don't care about traffic. We care about CPA, so we don't use that. Any questions on that? Yes, Stefania.
All right, you said you specify you don't want to spend more than a certain amount of money on what?
Oh, on a CPM.
Okay.
CPM. We should probably tell what a CPM, yes.
So if you're running like an interest kind of page and you're going to try to, I don't know, sell videos or some kind of teaching aid or those kinds of things, why would traffic not work?
Traffic.
Go ahead.
So if you're selling, you want a conversion. Okay? If you're branding, you might want traffic. Okay? For the most part, traffic does not work better than a brand or conversion campaign. The only exception would be if like you have like a free quiz and that quiz is just so applicable to everybody, like everybody who takes this could do well with that. It might be that the traffic backs out, even though it's like less conversions, it's that much cheaper than a conversion quality that it backs out okay. Because you're paying 20 cents a click versus $1.50 a click, it might still back out because so many people are converting. I actually might try that for sugar meat. Who knows? So what am I going to do? Cost cap, lowest cost, bid cap? Yeah. Oh, you're not seeing this. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Riley, Ben didn't give me any food. No. That TA, man. No, I don't want frozen waffles. All right, here we go. Continue. So I'm going to hit continue. So we're good on the campaign level. I want to show you guys something before we go on. I'm going to answer some of those questions you guys had. Okay, so I'm going into, this is the Kickstarter campaign up here. I'm going to go into this ad set level. I'm going to press the close button. By the way, there's like two versions of Facebook. So you might get this or the new one, and they're like trying to test it out. So some of you are in the beta version, some of you are in this like legacy version. So if yours looks different, don't freak out. Like it's literally just dependent on like your computer and stuff. So I want to show you something. Okay, performance and clicks. Okay, perfect. Sorry guys, just gotta set this up.
You gotta call it bumpy tees, bumpy golf tees, so everybody can find it.
Okay, can I have you help me? So I'm gonna have you when I need a second, I need you to just scroll over for me, and I'll tell you well. So I need to get to like, probably CTR is the other thing I need. Okay, guys, I want to show you this. I want you guys to understand this. So amount spent is the cost of something, right? Impressions is how much you served, and cost per mil is the cost per 1,000 impressions. So an impression is when you show an ad. So you're looking at babies, and then the ad for the tea pops up. That's an impression. You with me? 1,000 of those are charged at $6.90 per 1,000 impressions. If this were a conversion, that would be double that cost. Okay? This were conversions, like a conversion campaign, that'd be double. Okay, and then we got link clicks. Okay, so Google works very different from Facebook. Google will give you cost per thousand. Google is based on clicks. Okay, so Google will charge you every time you click on something. Facebook charges you every time there's an impression. Why does Facebook use an impression-based bidding model? Stefania.
I think it might be because people are scrolling down their newsfeed. Is that something to do with it?
No, because you can scroll down the page on Google. Excellent thought. Anyone else? Yes.
Sorry, what does an impression look like? Is that just when it pops up
The
on
ad.
someone's feed and like they don't even have to click on it? It's
No.
just there.
Anytime you see an ad, that's an impression. Yes.
Is it more like, is it because there's like a greater likelihood that someone will click on it on Google than Facebook?
No, that is not why. We'll go here and then Matt.
Is it because of Facebook like disruptive marketing content? So like
It-
you have to like it makes an impression, then you click on it.
Okay, you're on the right track, Matt.
I thought you were asking about Google. Like Google does it because they're trying to be the best search engine, so they're the most useful. So they want, if you do the click for the impression, they want to know what impressions are driving traffic so that they can set their algorithm.
Matt, I love your enthusiasm. No, Slade.
Is it just because people watch more stuff on Facebook and it has longer periods and like people can sit on the same page and watch an ad?
You guys are on the fringe. You guys are on the fringe. You're tangential to like what's going on here. Okay, so here's the reality. Thank you, Riley, and just Venmo me. Venmo me. Yes, you have it, Will?
I don't know if I have it. I'll see if I do. Is it because Facebook is sort of like paying for a billboard?
Okay, no. They are charging you on a compression basis because they are incentivizing you to create better content. Okay? So what happens when you have really crappy content on Facebook on an impression basis? What happens? It's expensive. It's expensive because no one clicks on it. And you're paying the same for 1,000 impressions whether somebody clicks or doesn't click. Does that make sense? Facebook, you want to have the most compelling, ridiculous, stupid ad out there, hook, story, offer, because you're paying for the impression. If people don't click on it, you're paying more than somebody that has an ad that has tons of clicks. So they're rewarding the people that have really good ads. And that incentivizes you to make better content because their whole approach is really good content to get people addicted to coming back to Facebook. If this were all about a CPC basis and it was like $2 a click, all you'd see are these boring like law ads, you know, like come to me because I'm the best lawyer in town. But with this number, you never see that on Facebook because it's boring and nobody clicks on it, and so therefore it doesn't back out for a lawyer. Stefania.
So is the reason that Google doesn't focus on impressions because it's not as visually focused as Facebook ads?
So
or?
as an advertiser, me, I want to have a CPC basis. So what I do is called backing out. I take the CPC or CPM and I back it out to a CPC level so I can understand it. So when I talk about the cost per click, so over here we have a cost per click of 22 cents. The way, for me, that number is something tangible. I can actually do something with that number. CPM, I can't really do anything for that number, okay? So to get to CPC, what happens is I take my CPM, which is about $7, I multiply that by the impressions, and that gives me the cost. Okay, so the cost per 1,000 impressions times impressions cancel out, and you have cost. And that's where this, scroll back over, that's where this $47 came in. So 7 times 6 is about 42, it's a little higher than that. It's about $47. Okay, that's where you get that, scroll back over. So then we take the cost, and we're going to divide that by the link clicks to get the cost per click. And that's where you get the 22 cents. That's called backing out. Okay, so we back out to a CPC from a CPM. From there, we back out to a CPA. So then we can say the cost, which is $47, divided by the number of conversions, cost per conversion, would give me my CPA, my cost per acquisition or cost per conversion.
You said that last part again?
Yeah, so to get your CPA, your cost per acquisition, you can take your cost divided by the number of conversions you get to get your cost per conversion, or your CPA as we call it. Cost per sale, cost per lead, those are all the same.
Isn't all that stuff like given to you?
So yes, so that is given to you, but that's backed out from the CPM. Everything is backed out from the CPM.
So you're not like doing this ever, you're just explaining
No, I'm just explaining how you get there because it's really important to understand that this number drives everything else. So to answer your question, Stefania, the reason Google does it is for us. Google knows that honestly, with massive amounts of data like they have, the CPM stays the same no matter how different your ads are. And if your ad is bad, they'll just move the placement. You just go down on the list. They won't put you as high. They don't have to worry about the CPM factor. So if your ad sucks, you're just not as high on the page. Okay? So that's why Google does it on a CPC basis, and it's a win-win because everybody wants CPC because that is a tangible number. Okay, all right, I'll take over. You guys got questions? Hold them for a second. So I'm doing breakdown. I go to delivery, and I'm going to do breakdown by placement. Okay, breakdown by placement. Okay, now look at this. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get this. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll look at this. Okay, so right here are different. Okay, this sucks. He's doing audience networks. Guys, audience network sucks. Okay? Rewarded video, native banner. They're interstitial stuff, which is like you pull up an app and the app is like, you want to like see something to like order food on Nectar or something or like McDonald's, and then you see some kind of ad and you're like, stop. And you click the ad and you go to the site and you're all frustrated. That's this stuff, audience network. It's not actually good, okay? So I dislike audience network a lot, but it's really cheap clicks. So if the idea is to get more traffic, they're going to show a lot more on the audience network for that traffic. So notice now, they're not high on this, 45, 40, but look at the CPM, it's $1.25. So they're just trying to back that out to a really good CPC. So if I scroll down, I got 5,000 impressions on newsfeed mobile app. Okay, so right here, most of the impressions came here, and look, it's 691 CPM versus 733, 764. So different levels have different CPMs, okay? And those different CPMs are going to translate, if all things were the same on the CTR level, the click-through rate, if all the click-through rates were the same, it's going to translate to different cost per click. You guys follow that? If you're a little lost, that's okay. Write down these terms, go home and learn about them, okay? Okay, are we good to this point? Did I answer your question, Will? Yeah. Kind of. I answered the CPM question for you, Matt. Yes, Adam.
Just real quick, so the click-through rate, essentially what that is where it's when I click through in a positive way. So like,
you click to the ad.
Get to where I want to.
Okay, remember there's link clicks and then clicks. You want to see the link CTR, not the click CTR. Clicks would be like a Facebook click or whatever. You know, you like click a like or a share, that'd be a click. We don't care about that. We care about website clicks, okay? Excellent question. One more thing. So you asked Matt about would I start changing the cost cap to go down farther in order to like adjust things?
No, I meant to go up.
Okay, or up. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
I don't do that. And let me tell you why. So at this ad set level, it's so weird they don't have this. So at this ad set level right here, there's something called view charts. On the new campaign stuff, it'll say view history. Okay? And then over here, you can see the frequency. So this ad had a very low frequency of 1.05. If this ad had a 2 or 3 frequency, what does that mean? How many times has a person seen it if you have a 2 frequency? The average person has seen it twice. So you're approaching ad fatigue because some people have seen it 3 or 4 times. Okay? Does that, depends. Some products need a higher frequency. For instance, when I bought this backpack off Instagram, best purchase I made last year was a nomadic backpack, hands down. Best time to buy it is the day before Thanksgiving. They give the best sale on it. At least that's what I found last year. This bag, I saw an ad for it on Instagram. And I was curious. So I watched the video and I saw how amazing the bag was, but I didn't touch anything. I just engaged with the video. So then what they did was they created a dynamic audience for retargeting anyone who had seen 50% of the video or more. and then they advertised to me again. So they knew I was a warmer lead, and then I started seeing it 4 or 5 times. By the 5th time, I bought the bag. Yeah. So my frequency was high, but Facebook also knows that. Facebook knows that I'm a good candidate for this bag, and so they might show it to me 5 times, where another person who watches 50% might only see it 1.5 times. Yes?
I'm curious, in the algorithm there, do they also take into consider how long you look at it?
Yes.
And if you interact with maybe the comments, click on the
Yep.
link, you look at the comments, maybe
Yep.
like something.
Absolutely. If you click to expand comments, that is a link click.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. Pretty sure of that. Okay. Just looking at it, yeah, you're engaging with the ad. That's a click. Okay?
So clicking is very broad. It's engagement.
Yeah, it's essentially just engagement. That's why I don't really use that as a demographic or anything. So this tells you a couple of things. On the new one, they have a % impression share that's similar to frequency. We'll look at that later, but at least you have this much so far. Are we good up to now? Yes?
So what is the conversion here? Like, what's the product and what are...
We're selling those tees, those golf tees. Okay, we're selling golf tees.
Okay. And then, is there anywhere where we can see, like, from those ads, from those clicks?
How many sales?
Yeah, sales.
They didn't have any sales, did they?
No, we did. This was for Kickstarter.
Oh, it's Kickstarter.
You can't track it up.
Oh, okay.
Kickstarter doesn't allow you to do that for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. But with their real site, absolutely. You'll be able to see the lead, and then if on the sale, you can see purchase price.
Yeah.
And then from purchase price, you can back out what's called a return on ad spend. It's kind of like an ROI. And it's called a return on ad spend, or ROAS. And that actually tells you, hey, how good is this ad actually performing?
Okay.
On how much ad spend you have.
Yeah, so there's no way to see that ROI though.
Not on this because it was a quick Kickstarter campaign. On the new one that we do, yeah, we will. Yeah.
If you have like extreme targeted audience, does it cost more per impression?
We're going to get to that, and yes, great question, by the way. I want to go back to Matt's question real quick. So Matt's question was, hey, do I change the cost cap? Okay. My answer is no. So if you remember, on the cost cap form, so on this cost cap form, it's like, this is my break-even point. If I go above this, I'm not profitable anymore. So what's happening, guys, remember the theory behind this, what's happening is that we're saturating the audience. So what should we do instead of changing the cost cap? Change the audience. Or change the ad. But yeah, change the ad set. Yes?
I think one thing he mentioned though is like, what if at first you don't know your average order value?
Keep it up.
So,
Yeah.
like, you think that maybe you only sell $20 a product, but your average order value is actually like 35. Then would you change the cap because you break even?
Yeah, absolutely. Your break-even point changed. Once you learn your average order value, you absolutely would change that. Yeah. Is that what you asked, Matt? Okay. Glad you clarified. You guys tag teamed it. But it brought up another good point, though. It's like the audience is, if you're hitting saturation, don't worry about the cost cap. Change the ad set, right? Okay. Cool. Yeah, let's keep going. All right, so I'm going to go back to this ad set. How am I going to name this ad set? What do you guys think? What are some of the things we want to put in here? So we're targeting a specific audience, so we're going to talk about our audience. So I'm going to put probably, am I going to do males? Are males more likely to golf than females? If you look on a golf course, are there more males than females? Right, so I'm going to start with males. That's not sexist. That's looking at the demographic. I always feel like I have to say that in this class because I'm not trying to be sexist, but I am isolating specific types of people, which in the general world is considered sexist. But I'm not saying that females are not golfers. I'm saying that in the general population, there are more males than females, okay? I don't want to get kicked out of BYU for something like I didn't mean. It always goes through my head. So I'm going to put an M for males, okay? Who has discretionary income to buy tees like this? Older or younger people? Older. Who are typically more into golf, older or younger people? Older. Right, you've been doing it for a while, you kind of know your rhythm, you know your game, so what age should we target? Who golfs? Steves, what do you think? I'd say 30 and up as well. Yeah, so I'm going to put 30 plus. I'm not going to limit it at 65 because people up and higher do. And remember, this is a conversion campaign. So Facebook's going to figure out how to target these things, okay? So I'm going to say males 30 plus. And then I'm going to put my location as Myrtle Beach, and Hilton Head, right? Because I know this is the golf capital of the world. I'm going to try to isolate the best audience I possibly can. I don't have to spend a ton of money on this, but I at least want the money spent to give me something out of that, right? So, and I know that if I target the United States, there's 1 million people in the United States at golf. That's a huge volume, right? I can do better in a smaller volume if I'm only spending 10 to 20 bucks a day. You with me? Cool. So I'm gonna target Myrtle Beach and Hilton Head. And then if I had an interest group, I'd probably say golf. And I don't know, I kind of want to leave it at that and just let Facebook figure it out. You guys cool with that? Okay, yes.
Is there significance of using the pipe character between that? Is it just your style, or
Yeah.
actually there's not a function to it?
No, it's not programming. It's just literally my page break. I like to separate things with a bar. It's right above the inner key. Shift and hold the one right above the inner key. Okay, so we have Yada's golf pixel. That's already on there. Okay, and then a conversion event. We need to choose a conversion event. Yes, I know it's missing a conversion event. Okay. I'm going to choose purchases. Now again, if this is not optimized to the site, some of this stuff will be a little odd. Okay, it might not work properly. But purchases is what I'm looking for, so I'm going to choose purchases. You have to make sure your pixel's right to make that work, okay? And right now it has a yellow because we haven't received any data yet that shows a sale, so it's going to be yellow. It'll be the same thing when you use Pixel Helper. It'll show a yellow because there's no sales. You're not going to see the green. That's okay. That just means they don't have data yet. Okay? Yeah, Matt.
I mean, the color would change if you selected the conversion event to be something that had already occurred?
Yeah, so let's check. So view content, people have come to the site, right? We haven't any buys.
Yeah.
So we know that they have view content on there, right? So if I check purchase, and once they have purchases, that'll go from yellow to green.
Got it.
Cool. Great question. Dynamic creative. I do not use this. Okay, dynamic creative is like add in 3 different creative texts and add in 3 different ad images, see which one works best. It's like the lazy man's version. The problem with that is you don't learn which one works best typically because you're not running one ad set, you're running 20, right? So I like to separate these and do it manually because that helps me understand. And from that understanding, I can go on. Later down the road in a year, when you know everything, you can test a couple and see what works. Like if you have like 5 images and 5 like creatives that just are baller creatives, go ahead and cycle through because Facebook they'll do that naturally and they'll cycle through the ones that work best. But for now, I don't do dynamic creatives. Okay, dynamic means it could change your headline or your image. Offers are going to be stuff like if you have like a bread shop and you want to have an offer for like a discount on the bread and they can come in the store and show it to claim that offer. That would be that, but we don't use offers either, okay? All right, now let's talk about audience targeting. So in this case, we have people that initiate a checkout. It's fewer than 1,000 though. Guys, let me ask you this. What do you think is going to be better targeting? A lookalike audience or an interest audience in golf? If you think lookalike, say I. If you think golf, say I. Okay, it's actually lookalike audience. Okay, let me tell you why. Because when we say golf, we give one input. Okay? What a lookalike audience is, we're going to kind of go through this, is we take a custom audience of people that are highly similar to whatever that target audience is, and we say, Facebook, find the people that are most like this on Facebook. So instead of taking in golf, we're taking in 200 or 300 other metrics all together at once about that person. Does that make sense? You guys with me? Okay, so understanding that, we're not going to do like golf unless we don't have a lookalike audience, and in this case, we don't have sales, right? If you could find a competitor company or like a friend that sells golf shirts or golf clubs and take their list and then use a lookalike audience off of that, I would highly encourage that.
Do you ever use lookalikes based on video view audiences?
I would do that after I've exhausted the sales. So if I couldn't do sales, yes, and if I've already exhausted sales as in targeting, then yes.
When you say get a hold of their list, you're really just saying like if you could see what they put in for the patches and what they're looking for.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. It's a great question. I'm gonna go over here. Okay, they're gonna be in 2 different spots. I'm gonna have to show you both because it depends. Up here in Ads Manager, okay, there's gonna be audiences. Okay, let's go to audience. Do you guys see that where I clicked? Okay. Now I'm in audiences here, and he's already created a decent amount of audiences, but look, the size is below 1,000. This saved audience, crowdfunding plus golf, that's just an audience online. It's a custom audience. He did video views, right? And he has, if you don't have sales, then video views would be a great thing to do. I would try that as a lookalike audience. I think that's a smart idea because if you have over 50% viewed or 75% viewed, he has 2,400, 75% viewed. Absolutely. I would retarget those people and I would do a custom audience off of that. Absolutely. I'd have a separate campaign for retargeting though. I wouldn't use the same budget on both. Does that make sense? Separate campaign for retargeting because they're a different client than the people that we're targeting right now. Okay? Matt, you know what a retargeting is? Yes. Okay, perfect. I don't sing you out. If you got it, I'm like,
yeah, I'm the dumbest man in the room. I got it.
no, it's just you're not used to this kind of advertising talk, right? If you got it, then we're good. Yes.
In looking at this graph where it's right above where it says 95% video views,
Oh.
it's only 1,500.
Yeah.
To me, that seems like that has more potential than one.
Absolutely. If you have enough of an audience at 9,500, absolutely, at 95%, then I would use that for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to create a custom audience. Let's look at how you can do this. So I've got a list here of different types. I got website traffic, customer list. I have video audience. That's the one we did already. I have people who filled out a lead form. I have Facebook page if they engaged it. So you can do engagement on Instagram or Facebook. You can do videos, lead forms if they submit those. You can do website traffic and customer list. Now, here's the big difference between these two, okay? If I submit a customer audience, so I have a buddy of mine that has a list of 10,000 names, I use that. That's a really good list because there's a lot of people and a lot of data there for Facebook to use. But that never updates, okay? Now, if I have a lead form on my website, so it's different from this lead form. This is a Facebook lead form. We'll talk about that later. But if I have a lead on my website, so if I get a conversion on my website or a sale, for example, that person who bought from Facebook now can go into a list that's continually expanding. We call that dynamic. It's dynamic because it's expanding. So we can create a dynamic purchase list, dynamic sales list, or whatever you want to call it, and create that as an audience, okay? And then over time, we want to have that because over time, it'll continue adding to it. So I would have that as one of the first kind of lists that you put up. And so to create that, if the pixel's set up properly, you go to website traffic.
Sorry, real quick.
Go ahead.
What's the difference between like creating this type of audience from what we just were talking about as far as like
Yeah.
age?
So this kind of audience is a custom audience. The other things are going to be like a much broader category, filtering by like age and like demographics and interests. This is like people who have done something really significant.
Oh, so this is secondary after you have more data?
So I think unintelligent advertisers or like inexperienced advertisers combine the most possible. I like to say for the lookalike audiences, and we'll get to this, don't add other stuff except for the bare minimums. So for example, for Sugar Me, when I do a 1% lookalike audience, I don't also do people interested in bikinis. I do females because I know females are the target audience. And I also do people that are 21 or over because I don't want a lawsuit with a kid at 16 years old, coming into the salon. So 21 and older and then female. But other than that, it's a 1% lookalike audience. It's already taken into account everything else you would put in. Let it do its job. Trust in the system. And oftentimes that'll beat this. Yeah, let's check it out. So on this one here, we could do all website visitors in the past 30 days or people who visited specific web pages, such as the URL contains. Now, what would that be? That'd be a sale, right? You don't go to a thank you page without a sale. So if the website contains /thank you, we know that that's a sale. And then I would name my audience dynamic sales lead. Does that make sense? So I find anyone who goes to this page on my website, and because my analytic pixel is on the website, it tracks it perfectly. You guys good? Any questions here? Yes, Will.
Does that contain just people from your pixel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you couldn't like put it.
Nope.
If you knew that somebody had searched a different website.
I wish you could, my friend. I wish you could. You can also do people who, let's get like initiate checkout. You could do people who initiate checkout or purchase. You can do it right here. If you have a sales event and it's not like a lead on a form, you can just use the highlighted ones here and run that, okay? And you can start to create different audiences. I would create the audiences now, right, and let them build. Because you might not be able to use it today, but in 6 months down the line, at least you have the history they're already building so that you can start to use it. Okay? If you start 6 months down the line, then you're like, you got to wait longer until you get more sales. Does that make sense? So start creating these audiences now. I would do YouTube video views. I would do initiate checkout. I would do one for purchases. And I would do one for like Facebook or Instagram engagement. Okay, yes?
So this essentially is building, it's a visual of the history that you have. So
It's not a visual. It is a list. Keep going.
Okay, yeah, but the point would be is if the reason why if you waited 6 months, then you can't go back and get all that information.
No.
That's why you
Right.
know it in advance. Like these things will help me make better decisions in 6 months.
Yeah.
And you do it right now.
Some of these things you can go back on if the pixel's tracking properly, but I wouldn't keep it as a safe bet. Yeah. Did anyone have a question up here?
Reason to fail fast, find out which ones aren't.
Well, the reason is go ahead and create it because you can't use these lists, excellent question, for anything valuable until they hit a certain number. You need probably at least a minimum of 1,000 ticks, 1,000 like on the list to make any significant difference, okay? So you want it to build. So have that start building history right away. Okay, excellent questions. Excellent questions. I love this day because it's super technical, yes.
Does it do better, when you create these, does it do a better job of tracking? So for instance, if you had your thank you, and the pixel is assumed that it's set up correctly, and you also have that they click through to their shopping cart, does this do a better job of tracking the difference between these people that went to shopping cart and these people, and it lets you know what your actual conversion rate? Does it do a better job, or just track the same? Or would you get those numbers elsewhere more easily?
Irrelevant. And I'll explain why. So you're asking, does it do a better job tracking here than on the website?
Yeah.
Okay, irrelevant. And you would always use website data for like what you're going to do, but this list is not the end goal. Okay? This list is just to build a list of people considering to what you want to have to do the next step.
Right.
Okay, so the next step, that would be very relevant. So let's check out that. So assume we build this list, we build a conversion kind of list. Matt, excellent question. I love that question. Such a good question. By the way, so you could do all of these here. That's the website one. I would start building that, but if you can get a custom list from any of your competitors or friends that have similar businesses of just people in the golfing industry, this is going to do better than any kind of interest group that we do. Okay? I'm going to explain why right now. And I'm going to answer your question, Matt. Oh, so love that question. So from a custom list, we can build what's called a lookalike list. Okay? Let's take a look at what that looks like. I call these, when I name these, I name them LAL, lookalike list. Okay, LAL. LA Lakers, there you go. So when I build it, I'm going to build it off of a list. So I select a source. Let's just say 188 purchases. So it's going to tell me, hey, this isn't big enough. I don't have enough purchases now. But let's say I have 1,000 minimum. I'd love to see 3,000 or more. But if I have 1,000 minimum, I can start testing this. Okay? So it takes 1,000 people on this list, and it gets all the data about them. What they like, what time they get on Facebook, what they do for a living, their profession. Think about everything that Facebook can do, and it creates a regression analysis. And it finds the people that are the most similar to those people. Okay? And so down here, well, first off, guys, even though I'm selling to Myrtle Beach, right, I'm going to do the United States. I want a big audience for this. Don't geo-target your audience smaller than the US until you're actually running your ad sets. Okay, write that down. That's important. Don't geo-target your lookalike audience smaller than the US. Geo-target at the ad set level. Okay? It's important. We'll explain why in a minute. At the ad set level. So I'm going to do the United States on this. I'm not going to do Utah or whatever. I'm going to do the United States. Okay?
So how the original ad set was for Myrtle Beach.
Yes. So I'm going to take that lookalike audience, put it into the original ad set, and then geo-target at the ad set level. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, we will.
Okay.
I'll come back to that. Just know this. Okay? So down here, this is the next part. We got two options here that we got to look at. See this like 0 to 10%? That's telling you that 0, it says how precise do you want it. And it's out of all the people on Facebook, male, female, old and young, bond and free, Gentile, Israelite, everybody on Facebook, find the 1% or 2 or 3 or 10% that are the closest to your audience. in every way. So for example, if this were the room and Steve's the one golfer in here that's like really passionate, it would find the one person in here at a 1% lookalike audience that is like Steve. Okay? You're double, you're twin, your closest person. You guys could go to lunch and talk about swing strokes and driving and handicaps all day long because that person likes golfing. 1%. Okay? Let me ask you this. So think about this. If it's at 1%, does that audience size ever change? Matt says yes. If you think yes, say yay. If you think no, say yay. Or A. I. Say aye. Nay. Okay, so if you think it changes, say aye. If you think it doesn't change, say aye. Okay, so it's 1% of the United States. Does that ever change on Facebook?
Yes, it changes every day.
Slowly, but yeah.
Not really. Okay? It's not really. It's always going to be, well, last year was 2.2 million, now it's 2.3 million. So if the more people get on Facebook, then it's going to be a little bit bigger. But that number is based on, so it's 2.3 million right here. Okay? So if I do 2%, 3%, 4%, it's always adding 2.3 million. So look, if I go up to 5%, it's going to be 11.5 million.
Oh, so it's still is gonna, within that 1%, it's gonna have a range of like identical
Yep.
to like third cousins,
Yep.
cousins.
It's still that 1%. And that's why people will use other targeting added onto it to narrow it further.
Yeah, because then they can isolate. Well, hopefully they can isolate.
The problem with that is it's already done that. The lookalike audience has already done that, and now because it's a conversion campaign, Facebook is trying to find the audience that converts the best. It doesn't need you to add more to it. It's like, hey, I got this. I'm going to work throughout this to find the closest people. The more you add to it, the more expensive your CPM becomes.
Yeah.
So why not just let Facebook do the work? You follow me?
Totally.
100%, good. So we can create a Facebook audience of 5%, 1%, 2%. Watch this, guys. Another thing we can do, it says how many lookalike audiences do you want? I'm going to say 5. And now I just created 5 lookalike audiences. All of these have 2.3 million, all of them. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So just to clarify, each lookalike audience is slightly different.
Each lookalike audience is 1% less like Steve. Okay, I gotta sit down for a sec. Woo! 6 hours on my feet teaching. Holy cow! All right, here we go. So for Sugar Me, for example, like it's 2.3 million, but then I go into a subset of Phoenix, right? So my lookalike audience, when I narrow it down with the location targeting, is like less than 100,000. It's like 50,000 people. Okay. So if I hit saturation, which happens often, then what I need to do is I need to switch audiences. So right here, I can go from the 1 to the 1 to 2%. And that people is kind of a lot like the 1%. It might not be just like them. And so it might still get similar results, right? And I can kind of like, if 1% hits saturation, I'll pause that for a little bit, and I'll run the 2% until that hits saturation, go back to the 1%. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any questions on lookalikes? Yeah, Adam, and then we'll go Spencer.
Just to make sure, so the reason why you're not just doing the 5% originally is because then you're saying like you could be, it's just a bigger range.
It's just a bigger range.
You gotta go this range, then this range,
Yeah.
then this range.
Yeah, I'd rather test it because there is going to be a difference in the buying capacity of a 5%er versus a 1%er. Yeah. And in the beginning with Abe's stuff, I want to have the most targeted possible to prove viability. Yeah.
How far down that list do you go? Like
5.
5%?
I go 5.
Okay.
Yeah, and I might actually do a 1 to 3% as well, just to have like one group of that. So I might make, so instead of 5 separate, I might make another lookalike audience that's one group and 3% of it. Because it might be for me in Phoenix, because like buying a bikini wax, like it's not like just people that love Kim Kardashian. It's people that love Kim Kardashian, but it's also people that hate Kim Kardashian but have boyfriends, right? Like those are 2 different groups, and they might be in the 2% range and convert just as well as that 1%. And so to give it more options to let the conversion algorithm work, I might go for the 1 to 3%. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Yes?
What about a big picture? So we're going to start a lookalike audience after you already have some purchases from your custom audience, or you can...
Yes. You can't create a lookalike audience unless you have enough data for that. But you want to go ahead and create your custom audiences because that's going to be used to do all the other stuff. That make sense? Okay. Fan-freaking-tastic. I'm not going to create that because we're not going to do that now. So again, that's in the audience section under assets. You guys good with that? Okay, let's go back to creating this ad. So I don't have a custom audience to play with because we don't have any kind of sales and stuff. Now under geo-targeting, so underneath that, there's 4 types of geo-targeting. I don't know if you can see this. It's everyone in this location, people who live in this location, people recently in this location, people traveling to this location. Okay? Now this gets super interesting, and I love this example, Abe. So everyone in this location, we're talking about Myrtle Beach. Who is this? Everybody. It's people that go there, people who live there, it's everybody. How about people who live in this location? They have a house, they have an IP address that is consistently at nighttime in Myrtle Beach, right? So if I'm a commuter to Salt Lake and I have Salt Lake on the targeting, I'm not included in that. Because my nighttime address is in Draper, I'm not including those people, okay? This is particularly important because I can exclude people who live in this location. So imagine like imagine if you do dolphin tours in California, and the people who get dolphin tours are tourists, right? So I might do an exclusion of anyone who lives in that location because I know it's not those people who will want those ads, right? Or imagine if you're like, so you can do tours, or you could do the opposite, people traveling in this location. I might target people traveling in this location and exclude people who live in this location all at once. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so people recently in this location, who would that be? Huh?
They moved away.
Oh, not necessarily moved away. Yeah, so maybe like my commuter. So I'm not a traveler. I'm not coming from, South Carolina to California. Maybe I live, or for example, the Draper example, maybe I live in Draper and I recently came to Salt Lake. That makes sense? That'd be an option for that. Okay? So this is particularly good. Who, for us, should we target? Should we do people traveling or people who live in Hilton Head?
I think both. Everyone.
Everyone in this location?
Yeah.
I think, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, if you go to Myrtle Beach and you're interested in golf, high chance that you're doing a golf trip. You with me? So probably people who live there like to golf. That's a possibility. But I think the more pertinent ones, the real extreme golfers, the ones that are like, hey, I'm actually traveling to a city to golf, these are going to be people who travel to this location. You with me? That's the difference between a pro advertiser and someone who's so-so. It's really understanding who those people are and being able to target them at that level, okay? Because I know that someone who is an avid golfer who is flying and spending money on a hotel is much more likely to buy than someone who likes golf and lives in Hilton Head. You with me? So I'm going to hit people traveling to this location. Okay?
Why not recently in this location? Because then those guys who are going there, who travel, 3 days a week, they're golfing in Myrtle Beach, they live an hour and a half.
So those might be.
Could you not still get the traveling group? Could
Okay.
you get both by doing that or no?
So those people might be good. Okay, so he's saying, what about the people who are like, they don't live in Hilton Head, they live in like Berkshire, and they travel 30 minutes to go golf in Hilton Head. What about those people? Those people are good,
But they're not. It's priority.
but they're not the avid, right? We don't have the 1% lookalike audience. So right now, I'm just trying to identify if this works. I want the absolute best that I can possibly get, and those are those travelers.
How would you know when to split test this?
I split test right away.
Okay, so you could do both, split test?
You absolutely could if that's where you think the second best group is. Probably for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this like, I'm pretty certain that these are like better people than the recently in this location. And so I would test that later. What I'll probably do is next is test different golfing audiences. Okay?
So people in the recent audience, they're not there anymore. So like, if I travel and I'm still there, I will not be in the recent audience. Is that correct?
Possibly. Recent means that you were recently in this location the past couple of days.
Could mean you're still there.
Yeah. It means that you don't live, well, it could mean that you live there, you're recently in that location. Okay? It's not excluding the livers.
If you were to target those that golf, say 3 days a week,
Uh-huh.
most likely going to be in the retire category.
Ooh, that's a good thought.
Time frame, so you might want to make that adjustment. As well as I'm thinking down in Phoenix, it's not a summertime activity by any means, but it's probably 7 to 8 months out of the year.
Yeah, guys, the snowbirds. We have so many pro golfers in Phoenix. So that might be another location to target. So Abe, when you're running these, I would specifically hit golfing locations over other locations. As those traveling things, I would start doing those on those levels. Yeah.
Are you worried about this target audience being too small? About just traveling to this location?
Okay, check this out. Let's see. So right now, see right here where this audience size is? Right now in the United States, it's at 4.4 million. Let's target Myrtle Beach. Let's see. I don't know. That's at 27,000. So Hilton Head puts us at 49,000. Might be a little small. So what I can do, top golf course in USA. Pebble Beach, huh?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of golf courses? How about top golf destinations?
Could you also go to Google Trends and type in golf?
You could, yeah, huh? Yeah, and see where those are. That's an excellent idea.
I think Torrey Pines is right across the street.
From where?
San Diego.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
But there are a lot of golf courses next to
Right next to
There are a few.
Sorry. Sorry. Didn't mean to offend.
Pinehurst.
Pinehurst, yeah.
How about that? Yeah, let's do Pinehurst. I bet there's a lot of golf courses there. It's in North Carolina, right?
Hey, Brigham, one side note on getting discounts and always asking.
Yeah.
I will give you a little hint. To these upper end golf courses where you're going to spend between 100 to 250 for a round, most people avoid them
Uh-huh.
because of the price.
Yeah.
And so especially during the weekdays, they don't book out. So if you go to one of these courses, say at 3 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon, maybe even as late as 4 o'clock, you can sneak on the courses for half price and get the same round of golf, and no one is on the course at that time.
That's awesome.
Little secret.
Awesome. I love it. When I'm 60 and want to start golfing, I'm going to start doing that. All right, 120,000 reach is pretty decent. Okay, 120,000 people. I'm like, I could spend $100 a day on that for a long time and be pretty good with that. Okay, most of that, but take note, most of that came from Scottsdale. So we might want to separate Scottsdale out as its own group and even test it out on a small budget. So guys, on this, I would start doing the traveling. I would do people who live in that location. I mean, there's a lot of things to work with, right? You know? Okay, so we're good here. Guys, this is where I'm going to exclude, though. Let's say I want to exclude. So I hit exclude right here. People who live in Mesa. Mesa's ghetto, guys. Mesa's. Is anyone from Mesa?
I served my mission down
It's
there.
ghetto.
Yeah, Mesa is super ghetto. So I served in the Gilbert mission, and right, if you get stuck in the wrong lane, you end up in the Mesa mission.
Yeah.
And so like, not even kidding, you cross from Gilbert to Mesa, and suddenly it's like, oh, ghetto.
Yeah.
Like nice on one side of the road, ghetto on the other.
It's like going west of the I-15. Like, just don't do it. Yeah.
So is it giving you the audience size based on the age demographic as well? So since
Oh.
you change that, is it gonna?
It's going to affect it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't mind.
Question?
Yeah.
Could you get like more pinpoint, because there are a couple nice parts of Mesa? Could you?
Yeah, I mean, you could.
Okay.
I'm not going to, but yeah. Let me show you that, though. Guys, this is a really good point. So on a city, I can only go down to 10 miles around that city. Okay? That's it. If I want to go even smaller than that, how do I do that? Huh? Yeah, you drop a pin. So if I drop a pin here, I can do down to 1 mile around that. Okay?
can't draw a custom shape then, can you?
No, you can just kind of use circles.
Circles, kind of a custom shape.
Yeah, to kind of customize it. I have to do that for Sugar Me to keep it out of certain cities, like Mesa. Mesa's, I actually have a Mesa location that does pretty well. But I don't want one location to overlap the other and do ads that compete against each other.
Got it.
Yeah.
So when you drop these pins, if they overlap, they don't double count, right?
No, they just count the same area. Yeah. Does this make sense for location targeting? So this would be a strategy of like, hey, how can I find high travel destinations for golf and start targeting them? And another might be, hey, I'm just going to target Myrtle Beach because people love golf in Myrtle Beach. Yeah.
Can you just put a pin in all of the golf courses?
And do a 1 mile around?
Yeah, I just do.
You absolutely could.
Okay.
It'd take a freaking long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do that in Hilton Head, you got the whole city anyway. Like literally the whole city is a golf city.
Make it bigger than 1 mile, though, you might just have course only.
Yeah, you might just have, yeah, exactly. All right.
Can you choose topographical specifications like coastal, things like that?
Yep, you totally could. No, nope, you can't. You could do a pin on the water that covers the coast area and just keep going up the coast. Yeah. It's- okay, guys, this is too small of a group. It's like 33,000. So we'd have to keep on expanding that. Because when I did men, it dropped it down from 75 to 33, which makes sense. Half the people are women, half the people are men. Unless you're in San Francisco.
For these type of small budgets, is there a particular number of people that you're looking for?
If it's a small budget, you guys just got to think like, I just don't want to saturate it, right? So 50,000, 100,000, I could run $1,000 a month to that and be okay. But at some point, it is going to saturate that. You have to switch it up, you know? But, you know, one easy way to do that is just people, instead of people traveling in this location, people who live in this location, or everyone. So let's do this. So now we're going to go to detailed targeting. These are important. Someone who has an interest in golf. 33,000. Imagine that. It did not decrease by adding people who are interested in golf. Okay, I want to explain some things to you guys. You have 3 types of targeting. You guys need to like kind of write these down and know these. You have demographic, interest, and behavioral targeting. Okay? Of the 3, the most wide-scaping net is, what do you think? If you think demographics, say aye. Interest, say aye. And behavior, say aye. Okay, it's actually interest. Interesting, right? Yeah. Interest is going to be your widest net because that person might just have clicked on a Kim Kardashian ad and not actually love Kim Kardashian. But they think they do because they saw something stupid and they clicked on it and it's not really who they are, right? But a demographic is like, you're female and you have a kid, that's pretty, you know, tight targeting. Does that make sense? Behavior is the same way. Behavior is like the most tight because you have employment on that. I mean, that's super tight. Okay, so let's look into some of this. By the way, it is way less targeted than it used to be like a year or 2 ago. Like they've taken a lot of the stuff away that they used to have. They used to have like third-party data on here and they've taken like all of that out. Okay, so here we go. So under these, let's look under.
Sorry, can you see the cost like increasing as you're
Nope,
specific?
it does not tell you how your costs increase. You know, it might say.
I felt like I tried to do it that way back in the day, and I could see it climbing as I was adding things.
Yeah, no, not right now. Okay, here we go. So it might say on the side, like you're gonna spend these much per day, and it might show a little bit less, but it's not gonna tell you what your CPM on that is, and it's gonna be a range. Just know that as you add, the cost goes up. It's kind of the basic principle you have to understand. So demographics, interests, and behaviors. I hit browse to see this. Let's look at demographics, guys. Guys, if you're like single and looking for a girlfriend, and you like love nurses because when you get old, you want somebody to take care of you, just like put an ad on Facebook, find BYU nurse, and target the 100 girls a year who are in BYU Facebook as a nurse. You can do that. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. Or if you love dancing, find a dance major and be like, hey, I'm single, hit me up. Here's the ad, right? You can target people in undergrads. You can target people based on their field of study, their education. You can target people based on their income level. That's cool. That's super expensive too. You can do life events. Guys, these get kind of crazy. You can do friends of people having a birthday, friends of recently moved, friends of newly engaged people. I mean, you got people in a long distance relationship, people who have a new job, newly engaged. That's me. What up? Newlywed. You have people who just had babies. People who are parents of teenagers, of toddlers, of adult children, parents of all ages. You got people who are in a relationship. You got people who have a civil union, complicated, engaged, married, open relationship, separated, single, unspecified widows. Guys, you can target employers on here. You could be like, hey, I want to target people who work for Google because I'm Facebook and I need smart people to work for me. And you can run ads on Facebook to have Google people come over to you. You can do that. Poach them. You can do it on industries. So there's some good B2B stuff in here. We want to target urologists. Well, you can't do that on Google, but you certainly can target doctors on Facebook. There's like 50,000 urologists, people who work in urology on Facebook. I can target that. I got interests I can target. Guys, one of my favorite is entertainment. I can target people who, I don't know, I like using these because it kind of tells who you are. Like if you like The Bachelor, there's like a person that watches The Bachelor, like, you know, in general. Or Kim Kardashian. I love that one. Oprah Winfrey, you know. There's like that kind of thing. And that's a good thing to use to target specific people. If you're like a handyman like Steve, you know, got the beard and everything, maybe target like home improvement shows, you know. Do you like home improvement? Sure. All right. I'm guessing. You know? I don't know. Motor Trends, yeah. And then, you know, that might be a network to target somebody who's into that. Or the Golf Channel. Maybe there's a golf channel under entertainment that we can look up. You know, we just got to like be creative here. Somebody had a question?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we use this a lot in our industry because like we sell health insurance leads.
Perfect.
QLEs, qualifying life events for health insurances. Have they moved? Are they divorced? Do they have a new job? Or
yeah.
All those things. So it's like, it's perfect.
It's perfect. Yes.
What section covers actually following certain pages, like following?
That'd be interest. It used to be that you could target people who liked your competitors. So if you're like selling t-shirts and you're Zara, you can target people who like H&M. But you can't do that anymore. You can target people who have an interest in H&M, but not target people who have liked the page H&M. Yeah. Okay? So that's a great question. So those are under interest groups. So this is interest right now. So entertainment, we can go to live events. I wonder if golf's in here. Games. There's gambling, card games, poker, video games. Oh, sports games, but I can't go any lower. But sports might be a good one. You know, we just have to test and see. We can do families and relationships. Huh? Guys, look at this. Golf's going to be in here. Yeah. Now, once I pick golf, I can hit suggestions and I can find others. Okay? I do not recommend for these giant audiences to do, well, okay, in this case, we have such a small audience, we might expand it by having more than just golf. But I recommend putting those in separate like ad sets and being very like specific with the way that you do it. Okay? So yeah, you might do golf digest. I mean, there's a ton of different things that you could test. But I like the idea of combining this with actual like the connoisseur areas of golfing because those people are much more likely to convert, right? Until you get your lookalike audience. Okay? So I'm down to 17,000 people. Woohoo. Okay? I would need to add in more locations. So maybe everyone in this location, we'll just start with that, and it's 260,000, and now it looks good. Okay? But if I really want to do this well, I would probably go in and add like 10 locations that are like golf destinations and then still do the travel destination thing because I think those are more avid. Yeah. Okay. So then I have people who are interested in golf. Guys, we can exclude people. These become handy. Do you want to target people who have bought from you before? Like, for example, free bikini wax. Do I want to target people who have used my free bikini wax before? So I should exclude them. That's another benefit of that dynamic lead list that we created under custom audience is because all those people who have bought from me before, I can exclude moving forward and never target them again. I can take my entire salon list as a custom list and exclude them from any advertising so I don't get them pissed and I'm giving free bikinis away. Yeah.
For a year later, you could include them back again and give them another offer.
Yeah, so you could upsell. Like, so let's say I sell t-shirts. I might, now that they bought a t-shirt, show them the shorts that go with it. Or if they bought tees from you, now you can start selling other kind of equipment on there. You know, and you can start retargeting them with other better offers. Great thought, Steve.
On something like a sugar me though, where it's a kind of a reoccurring thing, hair grows.
Yeah, well,
Invite them back, do a birthday thing, do.
yep. Hey, it's your birthday. Here's a free gift
Yeah.
from Sugar Me Wax. You could absolutely do that. Be such a small audience, but you could do that. Okay, the other thing is right here, expand detailed targeting criteria. I like this because Facebook does a really good job of finding people because they use smart bidding methods. 5 years ago, I wouldn't use this, but now it's pretty smart, okay? Especially if I have a limited audience. So I might go in there and find like 10 locations, or I might hit expand target audience, and it just goes on, finds people of this similar nature, and then it expands it for me.
Do you tend to just use it or not, or do you always test it when you use that?
If it's a small audience, I'll start using it, and then maybe I test not using it. If it's a big audience, I wouldn't expand it. But for something small like this, I'll probably expand it, yeah.
How small would you want to go? Like, at what point do you stop putting
Honestly,
demographics so that and let Facebook do its work?
the best audience size is 1 to 2 million. Best audience size. Yeah, that's a great question. Because remember, in that audience, you have the $1 CPA, the Steves, and then you got the $5 and the $10 CPAs, and Facebook is figuring all that stuff out for you. So the bigger the audience, the less likely that you're going to hit a budget decrease on the cost cap or the target CPA because you're not be able to find it at that level anymore. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question that you probably already explained. I think of two different ads on Facebook. There's the sidebar ads, and then there's the ones that are the descriptive ones that are part of
The
when you scroll
newsfeed.
through your newsfeed.
So those are called
always
right-hand rail.
attached to-
Sorry?
The secondary ones are always attached to a page that you need to own. You need to be doing social media.
You always have to own the page.
Just posts.
You cannot run on Facebook unless you have a page. So you have to create a page and then an advertising page or an advertising like ad. Okay? You have to have a page. It doesn't have to be good. Find 10 pictures on the internet of golf and call it good. Like people don't go to your page. Like you're going to lose 1 to 2% conversions on that from people that are like really trying to check you out. It's not a big deal. Okay? Yep. So people spend a lot of time on the page and just don't even worry about that. Seriously, just drive traffic and have some stupid page. Okay? So that's an audience. We're at 850,000 when I expand the reach. When I take it off, I'm at 260. 260 is good for our budget. I'm going to keep it there. But as I start to expand the budget, I might expand. Now keep in mind, this is a brand new account, right? So me running after $50,000 of spend on Sugar Me Wax, it's much more likely to be right about expanding the audience than it would a brand new account. So I might leave it off in the beginning, but if I were starting this a year later, I might decide to expand because it does know my audience a lot better. Go ahead, Steve.
I'm just thinking, every time I've ever bought a golf shop at the course, is there a way that you think maybe an avenue of custom printing for actual the golf shops at the courses, and you target them on their pages?
You could target people who, as an employer, work at a golf shop and have a totally different ad for them. Yeah.
Because then you could maybe selling them to bulk.
Yeah, you could do B2B to those guys. Yeah, absolutely. I think I shared this story, but there was this like guy who had the tongue sanitizer, and he said, "Hey, your breath stinks, Walmart. Contact us." And they're like, "Hey, we got the message. Take the ad down." It took like 2 days. So you can find employers at golf shops and then target them on a B2B level. Absolutely. Great thought. Had a thought? Okay. Any other questions on this? Guys, super good so far. All right. I still have a lot to go over, obviously. We're not going to finish, obviously. It's just how class goes. I'm going to have us take a 5-minute break in a second. So 5 minutes, so we'll be done at like 7:15. I want you guys to remember, next class, I need you guys to have a mood board finished for a website that you guys are starting, okay? And remember, mood boards do not have to be actual product stuff. They're moods, right? So you could do flowy things. Think back to the class that we talked about with the visuals on the aesthetics sites. I need you to have the mood board done. I need you to have quizzes done. I need you to have the negotiation email. That's going to be sent out today, Riley? Or is it already sent out? The negotiation email, is that already sent out? It's already on Learning Suite, so we're good. If you need anything like quiz stuff and all that, just ask Riley. We're also getting all the videos. Guys, give a hand to Keaton. He's putting all those videos online. He's helping us out a ton. all of those are going to be published for you to look at and like review things. So if you get lost on something, you can come back to it. Okay. Thank you guys. I'll see you about in 5 minutes. Oh, I just want to sit down. Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah.
But one thing that I really want to understand is seasonal targeting with these Facebook ads.
Yes.
You talked about how you create a custom customer list, right? And then you use that in like a year. Facebook knows a little bit better what your audience looks like. How do you do that for seasonal targeting, though? If you're like selling snowboards during the winter and boogie boards during the summer.
Oh, I see.
Create like 2 different customer lists.
So you could do a purchase on the website, and then you could do a purchase from a specific page.
Okay.
So remember how we could do a URL for the thank you page? If we had 2 different thank you pages, say boogie boards versus snowboards.
And then we would just create 2 different customer lists.
Customer lists and lookalike lists.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Sweet.
And then at the mood board.
Yeah.
So we don't do that, they do that.
Cool. No, you do that.
We take whatever they do and then make a mood board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I get it. I understand. I just didn't know which step it was.
the reason for that is because if you show them a mood board and they're like, yeah, gung ho about it, and then you show them the real product and they're like, I didn't ask for that. I'm like, yeah, I actually did.
Yeah, I get you. Okay. It's my birthday. I have to go home now.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. So
Congratulations.
I'm going to go play with my kids before they go to sleep. Next week is the final day of taxes. It's October 15th for those that wait.
Oh, yeah.
So I won't be here.
Perfect. Are you an accountant?
Very, very unlikely.
Yeah.
I'll be here. I mean, I might. But
Are you an accountant?
I have been working. I've been doing taxes for the last 15 years.
Okay.
So, yes.
Cool. It's online.
I know. I
You'll be able to watch
just
it.
want you to know.
Yeah, no
so you
problem.
weren't like, oh,
I'll miss you, Matt.
Oh, sure
I'll
you
miss
will.
you.
But I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think my willingness to look stupid in the class helps.
Yeah, totally.
It doesn't make any difference. I couldn't care any less whether you like
Yeah.
bag on me or whatever. So
Cool.
Anyway, thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love your questions.
That's not true. If you're doing a mood board, are you trying to like
For yourself,
find segmentations, but you also have to think about like the customer they're trying to reach. So how do you like develop the website? Do you do it more for the client, or are you doing it for the customer in mind?
Customer in mind. Always customer. But the mood board is going to tell colors, fonts, and then pictures that give a general image of the brand. How are you feeling? You okay?
This is all new to me. The
Yeah.
ads, Facebook ads are all new. So I told them, like, I just want to go play with it and, like, figure it out, you know? But this is really helpful. So.
I bet it feels a little overwhelming. So much stuff. These guys are feeling overwhelming too, but they're used to it. You know, they've had 6 classes to feel overwhelmed, and you're like the first time here.
So I started watching the video, I think, the drop shipping one. The guy.
Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, I started watching that and just playing around on Shopify, but this is helpful.
Cool. This will help solidify some of the pieces.
So I was thinking, right now I was gonna help one of my buddies start like a vinyl fencing installation business, right? And I was thinking, because like in Utah, the developments are pretty big, but even within like, I don't know, you could geographically areas that are growing a lot more, right? So you could do Utah County would be a good geographic location, right? I'm just trying to think. Now I was trying to like, well, would that be a good thing, or would that be Facebook? Originally I was thinking, well, it would fit under like the Google side, but at the same time, I mean, stereotypical Utah County individual only fix it. And so, I don't know. I was just trying to see how I could apply it more than just.
That's a hard one. Construction stuff or home stuff for Facebook is hard, but it might work.
That's one of the things that I was looking at. So I'm gonna have to do the dog color thing rather than having something like that. And it's just, even though our pictures are all like the good ones that we found were like a dog video, and I just just because the margins are a lot better. And also the kind of light doesn't come with a battery. And so it's like it's a scam. Like you can send it somewhere
People are
else.
still buying it. It's being sold on AliExpress.
It might be consumers. It might be consumers.
Exactly.
The other thing it might be is like somebody might have a store, and then they integrate a bunch more products that are not their own to like upsell other things, and then people see it and buy it.
So they have the camera, it's just putting up the battle right here. So it's mostly screen, just so you know.
So don't come over here.
If you can help it. It's not bad.
Yeah, good idea.
Ray, one thing that surprised me too is I was thinking like, Jared was like, all right, I don't want to go create a page or anything like that, because then I have to figure out like what the ad is actually going to look like. Right. We haven't even gotten there.
To be
like just to like to actually creating the ad.
No, we're gonna do that now.
Well, so like that's funny because like this process is not helping me create. Just, like,
Totally. Help you understand your consumer. Yeah. Okay, let's wrap it up. I think tonight I'm gonna publish a video, or this week I'll publish another video of Facebook, so you guys can see how I go through with my own stuff. Okay, so we went through and we created a Facebook account. Okay, I want to show you something that is super important to getting all this right. Okay, like to getting like your strategies down. I've gotten you this far. I need to review the flawless Facebook formula now that you have a better understanding of how all this works, okay? I'm literally gonna redraw this, but it helps just like doing it while I'm talking. Okay, here we go. This is important, okay? So you're gonna start out, we're gonna do one ad group like we did. We're targeting people in these locations that golf, are interested in golf, right? So that's ad set 1. We'll do ad set 1. And then ad set 2. And ad set 3. From here, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to duplicate that ad set that I just created and change one thing about it. So maybe instead of targeting golf, I target Golf Digest. I don't think that's a very significant change. So maybe instead of targeting those like geolocations, I just target golf in the United States. Okay? And then the third one, I geo-target a different thing. So instead of targeting golf in the United States, maybe I use people who are really enthusiastic about specific golfers, interested in specific golfers, because those are the kind of people that really watch golf. They might want to like follow this. Not like Tiger Woods, because you're just interested in the scandals, but like the Phil Mickelsons and I don't know who's a big golfer. Jordan Spieth. Yeah. So these interest groups in those people might be a good place to start, because if you know who Jordan Spieth is, I don't. You probably golf. Do you golf? Yeah, that might, and so it might not work. You know, maybe it's not true, but it's theory. So we're testing these 3. So we test these 3. We're gonna let these run, and we're gonna let them run for about $45 to $60. Okay, because I want to get maybe a $5 to $7 CPA on that. I'm hoping for. You thinking about that? Yeah. So if I have a $7 CPA, 10x that's 70. Let's go $50. You'll go a little lower than that. That's probably enough to test on this. Okay, so we let all 3 of these run for $50. Now, to get there, I didn't cover this. I didn't see this. Hang on, let me show this. Okay, so above this, I don't know why I missed this. Well, where'd it go? Huh. I'm looking for the minimum like bids. They're not here. Should be up top. Oh, nope. That is strange. We'd select a CBO, right? Let's check. CBO's on.
Can you not do that in the legacy version?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. It should be right at the top.
And you can do that on cost cap.
No, cost cap's different. All right, maybe it's not in the legacy version. That's super strange to me. Okay? But usually at the top, you have minimum and maximum bid. Okay? Maximum budget for the day, maximum spend. And even on a daily spend, you can do this. So that's super strange.
Is that what it's controlling for with cost control?
No, so the cost control down here, that's a good question. The cost control is, remember with the cost cap, that's the number where you set the cost cap. Right, you did that on the ad set level. It may be because we don't have a pixel in place yet. No, we do have a pixel. Oh, here we go. It's down here now. Ad set spend limits. Okay, the new campaigns is at the top. That's what I'm used to. This is the old one. It's down here. Okay, so we can do a minimum. Okay, so we would set a minimum for this. So if our campaign budget is, let's say, $50 a day, what should our minimum be? So let's say $60 a day. Just make the numbers easy. 20. Okay, I just want to show you that. Now we'll continue with this.
Was there a correct answer to that? Or was it
Yeah, 20. 20. In the beginning, I want to funnel budget to all of these evenly. Okay? In the beginning, I want to funnel budget to all of these evenly.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you don't know what's better. So I want to spend enough money to tell quickly, right? Yeah.
So when you, because I thought CBO was going to optimize
Yes.
based on retention. So at what point do you turn that off when you feel like you see what's working better?
I'll get to that. It's a great question. Okay, so in the beginning, I got a minimum spend of $20. 60 daily budget. I would prefer this to be 10, 10, and 10, and to spend $30 a day in the beginning. Let that run for 2 days, and then go up to like 60 later on, or even start even smaller. If your budget's low, start at 5, go to 10, then go to 20. It'll make it more healthy and run better. Okay. So if you don't have a lot to spend, I would do it that way. You with me? Okay. So we let this spend, and we get to $60, and then what we find was that Brigham was right. Ad set 1 with the golf traveling locations was the best. No surprise there. Okay, so what I do now is I pause these other two. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this ad set. So on the ad set name, right under the name, you'll see a button that says duplicate. Okay, hit duplicate and duplicate it 2 times. So now this comes down, and I got my ad set 1. And then I'm going to test 2 different things again. I don't like to have 4 or 5 tests running in a campaign. You can, but I'd rather be just specific about these. It's easier to manage, and it's less work on the face. It's like it gives like really specific choices for Facebook to make, and I find it does better overall. Okay. So here, I might do ad set 2 and 3 like this. These are done, but for ad set 1, it's exactly the same. Okay, so that just brought down. I didn't pause it, I just let it keep running. That becomes my control. The only thing I do here differently is I'm going to write down here, I'm going to write the word control on the ad set. So I know what my control is. Okay? Then when I duplicate it, I could test audiences, or I might move on to the creative itself. Yeah.
So those 2 ad sets are different than the ones.
Yes. So when I duplicate this, it looks exactly the same.
And you'll change it.
But I'll change, let's say, a different audience. Okay, or if I feel good about this audience for a little while, I might try expanding the target audience. So instead of just like the audience itself, I'll expand it. Or I might test 2 different creatives. So I might call this ad set 1 control, and then we'll say club as just like a name for that image that's on the ad. And then here, instead of a club, I say dude. Some dude. You know, just something that tells me. So I know that this is a new one I'm testing compared to the control. And then this, I might test like engaged viewers on the video, because they have that as well. So that might be an audience. What ad is this going to run? Huh?
Control.
It's going to add the control ad. I'm not going to change it to the dude ad because that'd be 2 changes, right? So this is going to have club. So I'm going to name this ad engaged viewers page break club. This is going to have control club, and I'm going to let these run for maybe $20 to $60 and see if I can get a little better. Okay? At that point, I'll come back to you, I promise. At that point, I've kind of figured out I got a good ad, I got a good like audience. I can start letting this thing run, and I can continue testing other things down the line and continue finding new things. And that's probably going to run for me at a decent level for a while. And I might test different creatives, different copy, and then keep on going on those tests and continue doing that until I really optimize that. Then at some point, guys, listen to this. At some point, this that was doing really well, remember we talked about this in the beginning of class, starts to go down and then it starts to go back up, right? At this point, you're hitting market saturation. So you might have to pause that audience or change the audience for a little while you figure it out on a different audience. Does that make sense? Hit me.
So you said 2 days on the first bar of tests, and then create a second on the second bar. That's 2 days after.
Sorry, it's not days, it's spend.
Okay.
So I would so let's say I need to spend $60.
Yeah.
I would have my daily budget set to 30 in the beginning, allowing for 10, 10, and 10.
Okay.
And the next day 10, 10, and 10, so that's $20 spent. And then maybe let it go for 20, 20, 20 for the next 2 days.
Okay.
That might be $80 spent, but you kind of get the picture, right?
Yeah.
So it's not days, it's spend, really. And I want to do that over time instead of all together at once, yes.
So if you want a $60 budget between those three, you talked about how like you wanted, if you're going to use the optimize, you mentioned doing like 10, 10, 10. So that way you could see, it could spend the money where it was getting its best bang for its buck.
Yeah.
You haven't mentioned that here, you mentioned just dividing it evenly. Is that because at the beginning? Is that because?
It's the beginning. So Facebook doesn't know. So now let's go down to the third level iterations. This is probably what I would do. Let's say I found that this control audience was great, but the dude was just like outperformed everything. Now I have something really good. So what I could do on my third test, come over here. So now what I could do is this becomes my control. My minimum spend on this on a daily budget is 20, okay? And then I could have maximum spends. Well, I would probably do like a minimum of something and like a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 21, so it always hits between that on the others. So let's say it's 20 and 20, but I have maximums on these of 20 as well. I usually don't even do that. I just usually put it at 20, see how it does. And then
Exactly,
minimum 20. And then I do a daily budget of not 60, but 100. And it's going to go to here. Okay?
That makes sense because you're already planning on that. That's one of the reasons why you plan on increasing your daily budget across the board.
Yeah.
Just so that, yeah.
Now, if it starts to spend really high on this one, I might switch to a maximum. Because it's starting to say, hey, this thing is actually working really well for us. But I don't want to trust it yet. You know, I want to kind of like keep the testing until the $50, and then I might let that go. Okay? And so then, let's say I find that this works really well, and I've kind of optimized these, and I find that this one, that both of AS2 and AS3, both of these have a, let's say they have a $5 CPA. It's 5, and this is 550. Okay? At this point, I might just say, hey, CBO, take control. Release the minimums, have it set for $1,000 a day or whatever it is, and just let it go to town. Okay? So the idea is you're blending into CBO later on instead of saying, Facebook, I'm just going to trust everything to you. Does that make sense? Facebook doesn't know from the beginning, okay? They don't have some magic ball to see who's going to convert. By the time you get here, you're much more likely to get results from an automated bidding strategy than you would if you started here. Okay.
So Facebook, does it optimize your audience or the target people based on? Does it do that on the campaign level or the ad level? Like, would it notice that different people, like one ad performs better with different groups, and then you target them for a different?
Typically, ads perform better because they haven't hit saturation. Okay. Typically, you have ad fatigue before it's an idea of this ad's more targeted to that person.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to think about that first. But to answer his question, he says, hey, are we targeting audiences at the ad level or the campaign level or the like ad set level? The answer is ad set level. Okay, that's where all the targeting happens on the audiences. You go with that?
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, my question is like, you said not to let it optimize by itself until it has enough data.
Yep.
That data is not based on, it's based on your spend, right? Like, not on time?
It's actually based off of conversions because that's your goal. So it's trying to optimize for that goal, and that takes spend to get there. So you could back out to spend, yeah, but if you spent $1,000 and had no conversions, it's not really giving you what you want.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't this process really help you the most as an individual and entrepreneur too? Because like if you, let's say you did throw it out there and they optimized it, you might not know why it was successful.
Oh yeah,
but like doing it this way, you can learn, and so that way like you can get a faster start as you try new items, so you're actually learning.
That's why you do this instead of doing a dynamic creative and just let Facebook go to work. That's why you do this process. It's so you have an idea of how all these things work. later on, once I get like 2 or 3 like images and ad sets at work, I could create one dynamic creative and let it roll through, you know. But let's figure out what works first before I give that to them.
What's your process on deciding like that original AS 1, 2, and 3? 2 and 3 didn't perform. Do you keep them so that you can
No.
remember what they go back to?
You pause them.
And pause them. Do you keep them though
Yeah.
as a history, or do you just like bag that idea and move on and keep your list shorter, or do you just create lists till the cows come home and then just all that data?
So Steve, once you create these, there's filters. There are going to be filters that allow you to see like only enabled ads or only those that have traffic. And so I'll create a filter that says how to deliver, and then I don't even see them. But I always want that data there for remembering.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. Yes?
Do you have a word or like a name for this process that you do, or is it just market?
Yeah, the flawless Facebook formula.
Well, I thought that was like in the actual formula, but it's
Oh,
just like,
the whole thing.
yeah, okay.
This whole thing. Coining that term right now. We go see Brigham Dallas's flawless Facebook formula. That's what I do because I'm a boss. Yeah, that's what you can tell people. Okay, you good with this? Everyone good? Any questions so far? How are you feeling? You good? All right, yes.
So Facebook collects data like when you get conversions. So if you run one ad and it's getting conversions, you collect data, and then you start an entirely new ad. Does it use some of that data still?
Facebook collects data at the account level, not the ad level. Okay? So it is learning all the time. It's based off your pixel and not any kind of campaign or ad set or anything. So I literally can duplicate that ad set I just created, targeting the same audience, and it's working just like it would in the other ad set because of it's done at the account level. It's an excellent theoretical question showing that he understands a lot of what's going on. Great question. Now that Matt's not here, you have to take over. Yeah. Okay, so I'd probably put a minimum spend of 20, and that's good. Okay, so now I'm gonna hit continue down here. By the way, if I ever want to go back, this like list right here shows where I'm at in the process, and I can go up or down at any point. Also, if you ever like are working in a group and you like have some ads that you have and you haven't like put them live yet, and like your buddy's like, hey, like, where's those ads? I'm like, I see them on my computer, but you don't see them on yours. Do you know why that happens? They have to be published. Okay? They harbor on your level on your computer until they get published. So publish and pause it if you want them to see it. That makes sense? Huh? Yeah, they're stored in your individual data on the browser level. Yep, in your cookies. Okay. So I hit continue, but if I wanted to go back, I could. Now I'm gonna go to the ad level, okay? So I have a couple of options. I could do single carousel collection. Depending on what you're selling, these formats could be good. If you're doing a couple of like different shoes, you might consider doing a collection or a carousel. Or if you have one shoe but you want to show a bunch of different views of that shoe, you might do a collection. It's a collection of photos all at once. And those can go into what's called an instant experience. They're a pain to create, but they'll explode up and then you can see like all the different things about it. Like if I had a travel blog and I was like showing something about traveling, maybe you would do an instant experience, and then that would expand, and they could, instead of going to a new page, they could look through everything right there. Yeah, and if you go to the Facebook ads library, not the ads library, but the one that shows like all the ads and audiences and everything, I don't know what it's called anymore, but they'll show travel and they'll show instant experiences on there that you can look at to kind of create that. So I hope that helps. All right, so I'm gonna do a single image or video. But if I had a bunch of different items, remember I could do carousel or collection. Okay, I'm gonna hit my page as the Yada Golf. Okay, and then here, boost performance with video templates. Guys, these video templates are actually relatively good. And all you need is pictures. So what it'll do is it'll take a picture, slide it across the screen, you know, zoom in, pan out, that kind of stuff. And it just adds a little bit of touch to it to make it look more professional. I would test a picture versus a video. You could take a picture and turn it right into a video. Totally fine, okay? Those are worth it. Okay, coming from there, we have 12 placements are using this image. The image he has is 600 by 360. What's the problem with this? Yeah, look at this, like it's not the same size, right? Okay, remember this. Use square images. Okay, just do 1080 by 1080 just like you do for Instagram. on Canva, just go to Canva, Instagram post, and create an image out of that, okay? I spent hours trying to figure this out because a lot of times that image was like pixelated. And I could not figure out why it was pixelated, like for the life of me. And so it's pixelated only on here. It's not actually pixelated on the page. I had to actually see my ad on somebody's page before I could I was convinced that was okay. But I was like max resolution and everything. You don't have to worry about it. Just 1080 by 1080, put the picture up, and it'll be full screen, rectangle. It'll size it properly, okay? So just use rectangles. It works for everything. That's my advice.
Because it's been downscaled to a thumbnail.
For this. Yeah, only for this though. It's got me so bad because I'm like, I don't want this ad. It's pixelated. How do I fix this? I tried every size imaginable until I finally saw it. That's when I learned it. So my pain is your gain. Okay? So I don't like the 600 by 300. I don't like the automatically cropped. Yeah, and you could turn this into a video. So you got stuff like that. They would want you to do like an ad image here and start creating dynamic ads, but just don't. Like it'll create multiple ads for you. Just don't do that. One ad set. Okay.
You do the carousel then where you have the multiple photos.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. You can change how it looks on like different things like stories and everything. In the beginning, this is a lot of work. I don't do that right away. I wait till I have something that works. I'll try a couple different things. What Facebook is going to do is it's going to optimize to news feeds, which is like the majority of your traffic, and it's going to find the cheapest traffic. So if it's not optimized for a story right now, it might not spend a lot on the stories, and you're okay. Okay, so just, it might spend a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to make a significant difference. Just go ahead and focus on getting something live and trying to be perfect. Okay, you with me on that? Cool. So I'm not going to worry about these right now. I would if I were Sugar Me Wax and been running for a year like I have. Okay, so then over here, primary text corresponds to here. Headline corresponds to this bold right here, Telos Tees by Yada Golf. Description is this right here, and if you don't put anything in, it just takes from your page, okay? And then down here is your website URL, and I have one more to show you. Your destination URL or your display link. That's going to be this right here. He didn't put one in, but a lot of times, like this is the website that we have right now, a lot of times it's going to be yadagolf.com/?/whatever, and you don't want that showing there. So you want a display URL that just says yadagolf.com, okay? To call that. I used to be able to get away with like putting more text instead of the website. I'd put like other things, and they stopped you from doing that. They'll like catch you eventually and block it. But I used to put like for my diet ads, I'd put like free trial and stuff like that, and then I'd have 2 lines beside this to like really just, you know, spam them, which is my goal. So anyways, all right, let's check out his hook story offer on this and see if it's any good. So hook story offer. Telos tee is the game-changing golf tee for weekend warriors. How is that for a hook? It's all right. I think it's not bad. You could do something like a question, like, are you ready to increase your performance with better tees? Have you ever thought about how tees affect golf performance? You know, just have some kind of it just has to catch their attention. And you can go in on a long format for that stuff. And you can do short format and long format. Long format might be more of a story. It'd be like, you know, I actually improved my game by like 5 strokes just by using this golf tee. And the reason for it is because, kind of go through the benefits. And then at the end, we do an offer. So let's see if there's an offer on the end of this. It's okay if it's not. He hadn't taken my class yet. It says actually stays in the ground when you tee off. So there's no offer at the end of this. It just speaks benefits. It's not a bad ad, Abe. It's not a bad ad. Yeah.
I don't remember creating this. Do they auto-populate from?
Oh, they probably auto-populate from your page then, if you didn't create that. Yeah, that makes sense. We're doing a brand new campaign. Okay, that's just from the page. But I would do an offer saying, on sale for the next 5 days, or something of that nature. But you got to be careful if you say for the next 5 days and you run that to a super tiny audience. Saturation hits and they're like, is the sale over? I don't want to click on that. Does that make sense? I find that with Sugar Me. I used to have like limited to 100 customers and I was killing it. And then 5 months later, they're like, the comments, they're like, this ad says it expired in like, or this ad says it's from June 1st. It's like October, you know? So they wouldn't click on it and my sales stopped going up. Okay?
Do you usually make sure your offer is visible in the first like 3 lines?
No.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, hook story offer. I hooked him. I wanted a compelling hook. and then I can start my store. Okay, one thing that's super important that I want you guys to understand, Instagram, so you can see over here on the right-hand side, over here, you can see all of these different types. If I go down to Instagram, I can go to this feed. Now, on an Instagram post, there's no paragraph breaks. It doesn't break. So like, you know on like Facebook is really nice, space, paragraph break? It doesn't do that on Instagram. So you have to hack it with one of Brigham Dallas's pro hack tricks to make that happen. I'm going to show you that right now. So on your computers, bring up those fancy schmancy machines and type in, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. Type in Instagram page break for ads. Something like this, you know. And then how to add spaces in Instagram. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to come down here to like, I think it's like, okay. Calm down. Easy killer. Okay, here it is. I'm going to look for this right here. So literally it just tells me to copy everything right here. So in between the brackets, you copy it. And then I would paste that into my ad. So up here, if I wanted a page break, I'd hit enter, I'd paste that in, and then I'd start typing again. Isn't that crazy? That's the only way you can do it on Instagram. So nobody sees it on Facebook that is like that, but if you want to be on Instagram and look good, that's what you need to do. And to your point, on Instagram, you have a very small space, so that hook has to be 2 lines or less. Like, you really got to hook them right away. And also on that, guys, keep this display link, not display link, this description down here. So, oh, I went too far. This description, keep this to like the size of this right here and include additional details. Because when it's on here on Facebook, it's really tiny. It's really hard to see. Okay? I have a whole class that we didn't get to on Facebook pixels. Guys, let me tell you the best way to do Facebook pixels, okay, is you go onto Fiverr and you find somebody from India or Bangladesh who's really smart and you hire them to do your pixels for $5, okay? That just saved me a whole class. Yeah.
So you just give them your login?
Yeah, you could create a login for them if you want. Guys, one way to do that, I'll show you this real quick. See this right here? This is your client ID, okay? If I go to Shopify, for example, and I log in. Oh, you have a Shopify store. Can you log in for me? Or maybe it'll, yeah, it should. Let's see. Guys, so you take that pixel ID, the one we had, that long thing, type in pixel up here, okay? And then down here you see online store preferences. If I hit pixel, it takes me right here to online store preferences. And check this out. Your Google Analytics ID, when you go create Google Analytics, it's right here. You just paste that in and you're done. Your Facebook pixel ID, you paste it in there and you're done. It's the same thing for Shopify and Squarespace. So if you're using those, that's all you have to do. Okay? Then go onto your page and use like Google Pixel Helper and Facebook Pixel Helper, the extensions, to make sure that they're actually there. Google's one is called Tag Manager, actually. Okay? Make sure they're actually there, see them there, and then you're good. Guys, have a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.